All right, let the match begin, folks. We got an intense one now. Morphy versus Anderson. Two titans at the chessboard. All right, so anyway, here we go. Section 5 of the book. I hold it in my hands. Morphy's Games of Chess. All right, we got the match between Morphy and Anderson. Was played at the Hotel de Brioche, Paris, between December 20th and the 28th, 1858. The terms were, as in the encounter with Harvitz, that the first 7-1 games to either party should decide the victory. All right, here we go. We got the first match game. It's game number 49 in the book, folks. Game number 49. All right, here we go. We got Morphy with the white pieces. He starts it off. He starts it off with e4. King pawn game, folks, by the 2. All right, wait a minute now, Shredder. Come on, you got to slow down here. He's jumping the gun. All right, here we go. We got the 2 giants here. Morphy versus Anderson. Shredder's got to take a back seat right now. We're going to bring him up into the analysis. We always use him a little later on, you know. We'll bring him back. But here we go. King pawn game. Is it any surprise, folks? The knights come out. Right, 1858. Standard procedures here. We got the bishops coming out, right? And look at this by Morphy. Here it is, folks. The b4 move. What's he doing? Oh, he's crazy. What is this? He's throwing a pawn into the wind, right? Here comes Anderson taking the pawn. All right, folks. This is the Evans Gambit. This is the Evans Gambit with 49 games in the book, folks. The first Evans Gambit. I can't believe it. This was Morphy's main weapon, if he could get it in the king pawn game. Once these bishops come out, folks, on move 3, that's it. No holds barred for Morphy. b4 is the move. All right, here he goes. He takes the pawn, like we said, right? Now, what's the idea of this b3? Just giving him a free pawn. Well, he follows it with c3. All right, it's not a developing move, right, folks? Because he's just moving another dinky pawn, right? Well, it's hitting the bishop. So Anderson has to move the same piece twice. And he's not gaining anything on Morphy. So he's got to move that bishop again. He can't develop another piece. Now, you either retreat it to c5 or a5, right? All right, here we go. Anderson likes a5, and here's the idea. We talked about it in other games. c3 supporting the d4 pawn push. All right, another pawn move, folks, but very important, crucial pawn. The center, folks, they're fighting for the center. That's what it's all about. Anderson takes the pawn, of course, right? He takes the pawn. This guy is pinned on c3. He can't even take back yet. So Morphy castles. He castles. No more pin, folks. No more pin. So he's getting ready to capture on d4. Pawn takes pawn. And he'll have a nice center there, right? He'll have a center. He'll have the 2 pawns. For instance, you do a dumb move like this. All right, look at this. He's got the 2-pawn duo. The dynamic duo in the center, folks. He's, controlling key squares, all right? This is what the Evans is about. You get your pieces out quick. Not to mention this c3 pawn move. We said it before, folks. This c3 pawn move also allows your queen access to this a4 d1 diagonal, right? He could swing the queen out now. All right. Let's see what happens. Anyway, what did he do here? That's right. d4 was played. Pawn takes pawn. Morphy castling. Anderson with the knight. With the knight coming out. Okay, first footnote of the match. Here it is. Morphy himself considered this the best reply here. Anderson, strange to say, was the critic who did most to prove its insufficiency. In an elaborate analysis published several years before the present match, both the compromise defense, which is pawn takes pawn, and pawn to d3 are preferable. All right, we'll see those variations because, like I said, Morphy's favorite move, one of his favorite openings, is the Evans Gambit. So he's going to hit a lot of people with this. We're going to see all different sorts of variations and attacks. Beautiful stuff. All right. But here he is in the match, folks. The big money game. He's playing the gambits. How many guys these days, right? The big money games throw these gambits. right? They don't do it. I guess because the defensive technique is much further developed than it was back then. But all right. Let's get into this. Anderson brings the knight, the king knight out, and here we go. Here we go, folks. Morphy with e5, hitting the knight already. It's getting crazy. Okay, where's the knight gonna go, folks? Where's it gonna go? Well, here we got a footnote. First and foremost, let's get to the notes of the old masters, folks. I'm just giving you the wisdom from back in the day. Here we go. Morphy seems not to have discovered yet the superiority of bishop to a3 as played by him against Greenaway 4 months later. See game, it's going to be 121. All right, we're going to see that and many more Evans Gambits. But this idea is a beautiful one because he's cutting off the king. See, the black king can't, excuse me, can't castle yet. The black king can't castle yet. All right, and we'll see all the ways black tries to, you know, get his king to safety, and it's very, very difficult, if not impossible. I mean, watching the Morphy's games are gonna prove that. You're gonna see evidence. Beautiful move. That's the line. Truthfully, that's the line. After all this that we're gonna look at in this game, okay, this is the line you want to play into. All right, that's the best move here. Bishop to a3. If the knight comes to f6. All right. So anyway, knight comes up. Morphy hits it in this game, like we said. Now, where's the knight gonna go? Well, we don't even have to get into that one yet because Anderson doesn't move the knight. He hits him with the d-pawn. You take this guy and I'll take that guy. And let's get into the analysis because Morphy doesn't do this, okay? He ends up pinning the queen knight. He moves the bishop again, all right? But obviously you can't deny the interesting lines that come about. And the old masters give, pawn takes pawn. Piece for piece, right? They're trading down. Now, white can take here, threatening to take the rook on h8, and queen, no less, right? So you got to move the rook. You got to move only one square, right? All right, you got to move it there. And now they give bishop, this is their line, they give bishop attacking the queen. Now, let me give you the line the old masters say, okay? Here's what they give. Okay, hitting the queen, developing the piece with tempo. Now he's got to move the queen. All right, they give queen to d5. Then they give the rook check. I'm sure you saw that one coming, right? With the pawn on g7, it takes away the f8 square. So what does he do anyway? He blocks, right? There's not much he could do. If he goes here, what even happens? I don't even know. Let's put Shredder on. Goes, he protects his pawn, I guess. He wants to hang on to the g7 pawn. Okay. What else, right? All right, so we go with that, I guess. Look at white. +3, huh? The black king is stuck in the center now. And he's blocking his queenside bishop. See that? The light square bishop can't get into the game. I guess he feels protect g7. That's a big card, you know. You want to hold on to your assets there. Big asset. All right, and that's a fight. Who knows, right? You got white up. I think I'd take white in this, too. And he can't take over here, obviously, because he hangs the queen, right? I don't know. What does he do? Right? What do we do? Yeah, he goes back here. Attack our bishop. We throw in the check. Ah, see, now with the bishop on f6, we're controlling e5, at least, with the rook. All right, so there goes the check. Takes, we take with the rook. How about that, huh? We take with the rook. All right, control that e-file. Now, if he takes here like a dope, you got this one, folks. I'm sure you saw it, right? And then you go there, you pin him. Look at that, huh? Look at this. Pretty dangerous. All right, he wants to go tit for tat. But remember, yours is a check move. Right? Okay, he can't do anything. There you go. Let's see. We put him there. Hang on to that g7. And there you go. What does he do? Right? He wants to bring out his other bishop. All right. You get the knight out. Develop the rest of your guys. Right? You're hitting c4. All right. He develops and protects. Here you go. You're attacking the d6 pawn. If he wants to protect it here, you could chop him off, maybe not. Bring the rook into it. Alright, there you go, right? Was he going to bring this guy out? So what do we got, folks? We're up pretty nice here, right? That pawn on G7, maybe we could get that one in for a touchdown, right? We get a queen. Maybe we'll have 2 queens. Alright, who knows? He likes that. We attack D6. Comes to protect. Alright, I'm getting into it, but White's looking better there. Alright, so anyway, here we go. And that's it. I gave him the dumb move there. The dumb queen takes F7. I mean, queen takes F6, right? We're not going to do, he's not going to do that. What did he want to do, right? What did he want to do? Protect, let's see, he doesn't know what pawn to move and where to. Let's see, what's he going to do? Protect C4 or something, get the right square bishop out. Alright, you're going to fight. Get to that long diagonal first, right? We attack the rook on A8. Okay. Here we go. Oh, look at this. We get our check in. Oh, that would be brutal, right? If he goes here, look at that. Discovered. Alright, we got this one. Protect. You can only block, I guess, and then you take down there, and he's up, but you know what? He's up, you know what, creek, right? Alright, so anyway, alright, he falls apart with that. He'd have to give the queen, for the 2 pieces, I guess. There he goes, he takes it that way. You go after his rook in the corner. He develops. You go after the bishop. You develop the last of your pieces, and I think you're doing good, right? You got the queen for the 2 rooks. And you got a knight for 1 bishop and the rook for another. It's like you're up the exchange. You got the G7 pawns hanging now, but he doesn't take it. Why? Why doesn't he take it? We go there, we check. He takes here. Alright, so he's going after my king over here, really. Already takes there. Alright, what's it looking like now? Right? You got the queen for the 2 rooks, and you're up the exchange, right? Okay. It's one way it could go. Who knows, right? There's probably better moves. We're doing it quick, folks. I know. We're doing it quick. We got to get back to the Morphy game. So anyway, alright. So they give, you know, let's see, this. The check. And we were looking at if the king came up. Okay, but obviously, what do they say here? What do they say? The bishop blocks. All right. Develop the piece. Pretty obvious, right? Bishop blocks. All right, you get your other knight developed. And what do they say here? Rook takes. Get rid of that guy. He could be a real thorn. All right, here comes the knight. Look at this. He's jumping right to E4, threatening the king and queen fork on F6. They give this guy over. I think there was a line like this, and you go after the rook, right? And once he takes your bishop, you don't take back like this. You go in for that fork, right? There you go. You earned it. But let's see. Did you still come out okay? Look at this. He goes, was that a good move? All right, you take there. He takes here. You take there. He takes here. Yeah, you got the queen for the 2 rooks, and you both have a knight, and you got the rook for the bishop. You're up the exchange for the 2 pawns. His king might be more of a target than yours. All right, what's this? Forking the 2 pawns. Already protects that one. You grab this one. All right. It might be a fight. It's pretty close. Look at the evaluation. You know, and he's got the pass C pawn or C pawns, right? I don't know. I don't know if that's too good for white. Maybe not. It could be better, though, for both sides. All right. So anyway, maybe that rook up is a little better, but he's picking this. All right, now you pin the old master still. This is the old master's line right here. Rook. Right, move 15, rook to H6, pinning that rook. Okay, they give pawn takes pawn. And now they're saying queen to C1, what else? what else is there with a question mark, right? And now they give rook to h5. Let's see. Knight to f6. Now, if you haven't noticed, the queen way over on c1 protects that guy. Just if you're sleeping, you know. All right, he threatens mate. Look at this. He threatens mate on g2. So now you throw the knight. Is that what they do? Throw the knight to block? Let's see. Wait. Yep. Knight to block. And now they give, let's see, if you take here, obviously, folks, you're going to take with check, and then you pick up the queen, see? And your rook's still pinned. How about that? All right, so you can't take the bishop. If you take this one, remember, the rook's still pinned, folks. Beautiful, right? There you go. You'll win that guy for two knights, I guess, or he'll fork you like this first. And all right, look at that. He doesn't even, let me see something here. Oh, because if he takes your knight, look at this. Right, you come in. Would you want to do that, or just take the check first? All right, you come here. Oh, and he can't do anything. He's gonna lose the rook outright now, because if he goes here, you got mate. See that? All right, nice. So you don't have to grab the rook right away. You don't grab the exchange. You throw the queen check, forcing him over. Now you take it for free, right? You get it for free. And there you go. You're up big league. You got the two rooks. You got the queen. I mean, forget about it. This one's over. So he can't take either any piece, really. He can't take any piece. So here he comes. They give king. Now the rook isn't pinned anymore. So he grabs the rook, he takes this guy, and this is the old masters still, folks. This is what they give. And they say, all right, now they're saying to take the bishop, pawn takes, you get a check over here, because the pawn is pinned, right, by the rook on e1. King over, and then that's it. And white has no attack left to compensate for his material inferiority. Okay, all right, let's go a little further. Look at Shredder going after e6. All right, he defends. Okay, so what do you got, folks? What do you really have here? I don't know. See, this guy, the pawn, if you move this guy, this pawn could be coming down. And he's threatening the bishop taking the rook on e1. And he's threatening, you know, the rook on d1. So maybe this makes sense to move this guy. Threatening a discovery, right? You do a dumb move, right? You get the double check. He goes over rook. Look at that. Look how mouse slipped there, folks. Sorry. Look at this. He goes over. You win the queen, I guess, right? He can't block, or it's mate. Queen takes mate. He goes over. You take him now. He takes. Oh, look at this. Wait a minute now. He's going to give the check. Wait, if you go there, you lose the rook, right? You lose the rook. Let's look at that again. Let me see if this is right. If I go here and win the rook, right? What's wrong with this? He gets that. I get this. I'm still winning, right? All right, but what's better? What's better about his move? Let's find out, folks. If he goes there, they like the knight. I guess you're setting up, you're saving your piece, but you're going to set up a nasty mating net. Maybe it's worth it. He can't even stop you coming to f6 at this point. Look at that. He can't go here because he loses it, right? And better yet, you get, look at this. Now you take, and now you're going to force mate on h7. Nothing he can do. All right, so let's just go back a move. Because I saw this. You go there, right? What can he do? He goes here. You set up the mating threat. Queen to h6 is mate. Next move. What's he going to do? He's going to It's just buying time, folks. There you go. Game over, right? But I saw the black king move this way. All right. So now we take. He goes back, really? Why not go over here? It says mate and 8. Mate and 8, okay. Here we go. Oh, the rook's coming in the game if he goes there. Can he just go back and forth? Alright, now we work the queen over here, I guess, maneuvering, right? Alright, now we get him with check. And he comes up and you hit him with everybody. Look at this, they're all getting in on it, folks. They're all getting in on it. Alright, here it comes, here it comes. There it is. Nice! Nice, right? Okay, anyway, what were we even doing here? Look. We'll go back. Let's see this. You take. He comes up. Alright, it's all the same, I guess. Let's see. You take. You come up. Take here. He goes there. It's all the same. He goes back. Here you protect him, right? Mate and 6. Let's see it, folks. Let's see it. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3. Bring the rook up. Right, okay. 4. There you go. G7. He's dead. There it is. Don't even need the rook now. Knight and queen. Knight and queen. Very, very beautiful stuff. They dance together, folks. They dance. Alright, so anyway, I don't even know. The old master, we took it a little further, right? We took it a little further. He went there. You bring the rook over. Okay, he's got to get out of it. No dumb move. See how one move could totally bury you if you're sleeping, of course. Because, I mean, even the beginner sees this threat, right? Discovery, double check, however you want to frame it, right? So he moves out of there. And as simple as that is, that, you know, you give your opponent one move, one tempo, folks. Now, look, black is doing good. You know, he gets back in it according to the old masters. This is the line they give, right? So, trading down, I mean, you know, you're down the material. Let's see, 6 pawns to 4, right? But you're up the exchange, you know, can you fight? Maybe you could fight here, I don't know. That knight is as strong as a rook. It's on an outpost, no white pawns could boot it out of there, right? So, in that regard, it's pretty even, right? But black has more pawns. You see, so, hey. You know what? Looking at this, can you even sack him? Can you even sack this guy? You just sack him, right? Well, you grab that. He goes there. All right, now it's forced into an endgame. So, a king and pawn endgame, we got no chance, right? He's got too many. All right, my mistake. You can't do it, folks. Can't do it. You can't sack yet. You can't give the exchange back for a pawn or 2. Maybe at some point you could down the road. But it looks like black is better, right? King's going to come out. Because you can't, just to show you, after this, right, you can't move the rook because then it's made. All right? So maybe this is the reason why you move the king over. All right. So anyway, okay, let's go back. That's the line the old masters left it right at this, right? After this check, king over. There they go. And they say black, I know it's a lot, folks, but I'm being thorough. Black has, you know, the better game here. This is not enough for white. The attack is dead, and he gave up too much material. Now, funny though, when you go back, right, look at this, you leave Shredder on, for instance. After they give this move, queen over, right, and they gave queen to h5. Alright, knight here, but there was even, I think there was the move knight to g3. Shredder ends up liking knight to g3, or it's even just another idea, you know. What my point is, it was a lot of analysis. for this one line, right? Like, at any point, when you're dealing with gambits like this, I mean, you might be able to find at some point, right? You might be able to find a better move. There you go. There's, was that the move? At move 13. Okay. Shredder is going along with the old masters at this point. There you go. And then the knight came up. That's what he found, right? Look at that. Rook up. We talked about that. Rook to G6. That was an idea. Okay. Where your other knight goes to H4. And he takes the bishop, and then you fork the king and queen. Okay, but anyway. So, he moves this. The old masters say this. You pin, right? He takes there. And they give this. Okay? And there you go. There it is. There's the move. Look at this. Knight to G3. See? It's different. They had this, folks. They had the knight coming here. Well, you just vary it a little, you might get a little different result. You know what I'm saying? There's possibilities in between the lines that the old masters give. This game of chess is something else. So he goes there, you take the B file. You know, I don't know, right? It could be a whole other thing now. It's actually giving white the plus at this point. So anyway, a little tweak to a line. You get a line in a book, and you find out with your engine. Oh, look, you could do this at move. What was it? What did we have here? We had it on this case. It was move right there, right? Move 17. All right. You tweak it, and you could have a better line. All of a sudden, you start. Everyone thinks of this line, okay, and they figure this is dead. This line's dead for white, and then there you go. You come up with a new move, you revive it. I'm not saying this is definitely better, but that's how this game is, you know. So I wanted to share that with you. But anyway, let's get back. That's the old masters line, right? That's with this. That's with this. After D5, if they take, you know. And matter of fact, here's another example, right? You tweak something, you do it a little different. If you watch some of the previous games, we had one of them where it was the Max Lang attack. This is similar to the Max Lang attack, except it started as an Evans Gambit. And the Max Lang attack would have it where you would have your B pawn still on B2, and the bishop would be on C5. Instead, right? And it would be undefended on C5, which is a big difference. But anyway, you would take, right? He moves over. You could have a line, king checks, bishop comes out, okay? And not this. You can play that too. That's one of the lines of variations of the Max Lang. But there's also this move with the knight, you know? And, I mean, heck, maybe it's not good. Maybe it's not good here. He takes, you take there. You know, okay, so this doesn't look too good, actually. I'm winging it right now, but on that move, maybe the bishop does come out first. You attack the queen. The queen comes up. This looks more familiar. And now you either, okay, you come up here. If he takes the pawn, you get this going. It's similar, right, folks? It's similar. He comes up to guard. Look at that. Look at this. The same type of scenarios, you know? You know what it did? It transposed. I believe it transposed. But then again, he didn't take on C3. Alright, so anyway, you know, this is what I'm saying, folks. Whether I missed a little something here and there, the point is, look, you could play it after this move. Maybe you play the bishop to protect G7, right? I mean, you tweak these things. Interesting. But anyway, okay. There was the line where the bishop is threatening a check. I mean, the queen is threatening a check. on h5. Okay? I'm just looking at, alright, throw a dumb move in there, right? You take here, he goes there, you could get the queen check in here. Alright, there might be better though. Look like the engine liked other moves, but this is reminding me of the Max Lang attack. But I didn't really look at the details of how different it is. I know the bishop's on. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. The Max Lang, this is where it counts. The bishop, like I said, is on c5, undefended. So you would check here with the queen. When he moves, you would be able to capture the bishop on c5. So you win the piece. You see that? So you would have two minor pieces, or however it works. What would it be? You would both have the rook. So you'd be up a bishop. You see that? If you won the dark square bishop, you'd be up a bishop now. Okay, so that's all. It reminded me of that, and that's just kind of touching on what we were talking about. You tweak things. Maybe you do a little different order. You go into it. All right, the engine likes this. Okay. And on that move, okay, I was looking at that. You got this, right? Why not? I said to myself, why not f6? I think the engine finds that after a while too, right? Well, you go in with the knight, okay, taken there, and it might be after the rook check. See, if you do this pawn push, now he has f7, right? See, now he has f7. If he goes there, you can check because the pawn is pinned, right? He loses the queen. See all the tactics involved? And still, the pawn's pinned, folks. He doesn't want to do that, right? So you take back. All right, I guess he wins there. And look at this. You get this guy over here. He takes you over there. And it looks like you're down, right? Looks like you're down. All right, who knows, right? Probably other possibilities, right? Maybe you check first. He doesn't have f7 to go to now, right? Or he just blocked. He comes up here. And this transposes, I guess, right? He takes, then you get this, right? We looked at it. Okay. He goes there, you pin. This is what the old masters have found. He goes there, right? What else? What else is there, right? And then they give, Shredder likes, all right, black could improve too, I guess, right? They gave a queen here, and then there you go. Shredder tweaked it with knight to g3. The old masters had that. All right, we're going on. I love it though, folks. You gotta love this stuff. You know, you're getting into it. No doubt. You could go crazy, right? You could go crazy. I guess I'm losing my mind a little bit on this one, but you gotta admit it's interesting. Okay. So anyway, at this point, Morphy moves the bishop to b5, right? So all that, they don't even get into it. They don't even mix it up. All right, well, Morphy saved his piece. Now Anderson has to save his. Knight to e4. And Morphy taking the pawn. Now he's got his pawn center, right? The pawn, there's no pawn trades yet. Solidified the center there a little bit, but now they give another footnote here. Okay, better than knight takes pawn. Okay, but Morphy, let's see, better than knight takes pawn. But Morphy commends queen to a4, castles. They give bishop takes. Now watch this. He doesn't take here yet because then he'd lose a piece. You just destroyed the defender. Did you notice? You destroy the knight, and then you win the bishop, which is now undefended. Okay, so after this, black has. The old masters give the line, folks. Now you're threatening to win the rook on, black's threatening the rook on a1, all right, so he's forced to go here, take. Right, then the knight takes. Now it's hitting the queen. The queen retreats like they give. Right here, Shredder gives queen to c2. Now he takes back his piece, and you hammer right there. You take the d pawn. All right, and there you go. And right here it says, white having now good drawing chances. That's Morphy's recommendation. See, so not all is lost yet for white, but you know, he goes there. He takes there. All right, and you win another pawn. All right, he goes after him. All right, so here we go once again. We're getting into it, right? We're getting into it all. You know why it looks like it's a draw, folks? Because it's bishops of opposite colors. See, I control the dark squares, and he controls the light squares, right? And it's kind of, even if black's up a couple, what is it? He's up one pawn, big deal. He could be up 2, 3 pawns. Bishops of opposite color, who knows, right? Who knows? It's probably drawn. And that's what Morphy says. White having now good drawing chances. Okay, so that's what he likes. He likes queen to a4. All right, Morphy taking on d4. All right, here we go. We got the castle move by Anderson. It says right here, watch this now. Watch this. Another footnote. Interesting one, too. Bishop to d7 would have kept the pawn, but black prefers to abandon this in order to secure a positional advantage, all right? Not everything is material, folks. Not everything. Very important, but sometimes the master knows when to give back the material and gain the positional advantage. And if you gain the positional advantage down the road, it could win you the game. It could win back that material, and you can win the game, you know? So, you're weighing your options here. We'll see. How does Morphy win back the pawn? Okay, here we go. Anderson decides to castle. He sees it. Okay, he sees this deep. Anderson was one of the greats. Okay. So now you got Morphy taken. Okay. Anderson takes back. Now the queen comes up hitting the undefended bishop. Bishop pulls back, and look, he wins the pawn over here undefended, right? He forked the 2. After you take the knight, you got 2 undefended men, and there you go. Look. See? That's how he did it. Now, Shredder likes this, okay? But let's not even get sidetracked again. Okay? You got another move Shredder likes. It's funny, he goes here. Okay? Let's see. No, wait. What did he? Oh, here you go. This was interesting. Look, you go off and notice Shredder goes to grab the queens, right? He goes to. He prefers. He doesn't want to get into this, folks. You notice? Wait, the rook is free in the corner. Yeah, but now he brings the light square bishop out. Okay, and he's attacking your rook there, but your queen's trapped. You're gonna get nothing, right? You got to give him up. So now you're getting both. You're getting both rooks for the queen, and you got time now to move this guy. But look at this. I mean, it's white. It's white's all his piece. The whole queen side of white is now undeveloped. It's really black who has all the play here. D4 is attacked, right? He comes in. Look at this. He's invading the white position here. The white positions. I'd rather take black. I mean, he's got the initiative, folks. All right. So anyway, we don't have to get further into that. It's very tough. I mean, you got white. You're on the defensive, but maybe you can worm your way out. Okay, but so this, you know, Shredder doesn't want to play into that, so he would trade the queen, protect d4, get your piece out, and there you go, right? I mean, black's got the bishop here, and the pawns are even, right? The pawns are even once again. Right? You got 6 to 6. All right, so that's another way to go. But here's Anderson's move. Anderson plays the bishop out. Now notice now the rook's protected on A1, on A8, I should say. I think I said A1 by mistake before. on A8. And there the bishop comes out attacking the knight, threatening to bust up the white king position, right? And winning the D pawn. So it could be ugly. I mean, you do something dumb. Here you go, look. You win. You're going to win the rook over there. You win this guy, but look at this. He wins the exchange. Okay. That bishop's going to get out. He's going to take on E5, so we got to protect him. All right, he takes there. Take here, right? All right, check, right? Forced exchange of the queens. I mean, white's busted here. He's down the exchange, and he's down a pawn. All right, easy game for black. So you see what's being threatened. A good move by Anderson. So, here you got, you know what? We got the move by Morphy now. He protects D4 by bringing the bishop to B2. Right? And it says here in the notes by the old masters, a serious strategical error, says Steinitz, costing a pawn and bringing his bishop out of play. What Morphy feared in reply to what Schroeder sees, and Steinitz says is the correct move. Okay? Bishop to E3 was the correct move, but Morphy feared that after this move, Schroeder sees it, look at this, F6, okay? He feared this move. He wishes to meet F6. Okay, with the bishop here, he wishes to meet F6 with bishop to A3. As otherwise he gets a hopelessly bad pawn position. Okay, let's look at it. He feels that if his bishop is here, that F6 would bust up his pawn position pretty bad, right? Now, let's see, because I can't read his mind after this, I use Schroeder, and Schroeder might see things that Morphy didn't even consider, so it's hard to tell. But I think this move makes sense because you're going to try to trap the bishop, right? Alright, so black would have to respond stopping that pawn. And now, I don't know, you're hitting the bishop. Alright, you bring the rook up to A3. This is why this move is good. And I don't know if they would have considered this back in the day. You're gaining a tempo because you're threatening to win the B6 bishop, right? So, he's forced to play A6. And now, like Schroeder had just found before, you bring the rook up here. You develop the rook along the third rank. Possibly to bring your knight to C3. Okay, and then you can recapture, like, just what I'm trying to say. You see, you bring it here, you can recapture. Alright, you want to do it with the queen, I guess, but you can recapture maybe if you had to. That's what I was seeing. Not really sure on all this, but, you know, busting the pawn position. You're busting the pawn position. This is where I'm wondering, what did they mean by this, right? You're bringing the rook to C1. Well, anyway, on this, bring the rook up. If you take, let's see, if you take here, I mean, you could bust the king side, right? But now your knight has to move, right? It's in that beautiful outpost on E4. Now it has to move. And now your bishop isn't on A3 or B2, right? It's on this diagonal, so you can hammer this guy out of the game. He recaptures. The rook on A3, okay, it's protecting the F3 pawn. So maybe that has to do with the rook lift to A3. You see, so, but it makes sense with the bit. Now your pawns seem to stay okay here. All right, D4 is hanging. All right, that's why this move. He wants to trade queens. He gives this guy up. Why would he do that, right? Why would you do that? All right, lots of questions. Maybe more questions than answers. But, you know, I'm looking at this, and I mean, if you do something dumb like this, he takes, you bust. Yeah, it's like we were seeing before, right? Oh, but he takes here, threatening your rook. Okay, again, a good idea to move to play a4, and then you get your rook on a3. Takes there. Oh, he wins this guy, and he wins that one. He gets it back. You know, the game of chess, folks, it could be crazy. I was just trying to dig and understand that note that Morphy felt he was going to get a busted pawn position with the bishop here. And maybe that, I don't know, maybe that's why Steinitz says it's good. Maybe Morphy was fearing something that just isn't there. You know? If you bring the knight out, say you want to get this guy off the board, right? Well, he would take, and you would take here. I mean, think of it. You're developing a piece, right? You want to get your pieces into the game. This seems logical at first sight, right? But now, okay, he takes there. If you take back, then you can... I was going to say, maybe this is the busted pawn situation that he was talking about. But, look at this. He's got this in-between move. He goes there. He takes. You take that guy. You get the check in. Oh, look at this. You win the bishop over there. All right, you get him back. You're not up a piece. And I don't know, folks. Is this what Morphy's talking about? I mean, could the guy see that far? You got the E5 isolated. Now the pawns are even, but now White has an isolated E pawn, which minor pieces are off the board. I mean, I don't know. Can Black win that pawn? Can White push it up? It's a passed pawn, but I don't know. I don't know. It looks like Black has the edge here. It's gonna even give what? Why not bring this guy out? What happens here? He checks. Oh, look at this. Oh my God. All right, enough. All right, enough. Right, if he comes here, he'll win the pawn. There's no way to save it, huh? No way to save it. What if the queen comes down? He checks there, and now our king is exposed. And now he's gonna play the rook. He's gonna play the rook. And he wins that guy. Look at this. All right, I'm missing it. I'm seeing blind. I got blind spots. All right, so looks like Black is much better here. He tries to get the king tucked away while he can. And there you go. He loses the pawn right away. So it's not even a fight. Alright, so anyway, who knows? Who knows? Hey, White has this, so maybe that keeps him in the game. Okay? We looked at that. Maybe this is what Steinitz is talking about. The bishop belongs on E3. That's what Shredder likes. That's what Shredder likes. That's what Steinitz liked. And there you go. But Morphy, what are you going to do? Bishop to B2. All right. We'll see how much that costs him. Let's see. Let's see. Who knows? Well, Anderson chops him off. And Morphy's got to recapture. And now the king side's busted. And now the knight leaps to G5 without that bishop on that diagonal. He's on B2, folks. He's protecting D4, but really, he can't chop that knight off. And now that knight, he's attacking F3. All right, Morphy develops the piece, protecting F3. But now the knight has this. Right? Now, Anderson doesn't play it. He plays the rook over. He plays the rook over. Okay. Good move, but he has ideas of coming to E6. and chasing the white queen out of there. And with that, look, for instance, he's going to, maybe not yet, but this move has a tempo on the queen retreats, and now we could swing this rook into the attack. Open G-file, folks, I'm just saying, right? I mean, that's the idea. Tempo, bam, he's right into the attack instantly. All right, so this is you know, I could see Anderson foaming at the mouth, you know. He's licking his chops right here, I should say. He's salivating. I don't know, foaming at the mouth means he's, you know, he's going crazy. I don't know if I used the right terminology there. He's salivating, folks. There it is. Salivating that rook lift. You can understand it, right? But the old masters, here they go. Here they go, right? Monday morning quarterbacking, even though football wasn't invented yet. Here they go. Look, knight checks on h3 was better still, as Jay Lowenthal points out. Okay, we'll have to take this one up. I'm gonna take a short, quick break, and I'll be right back with this because we got another big analysis. Very interesting positions, okay, and they're very key to understanding what's coming up in the rest of the game. Okay, all right. So let me take a quick break. All right, be right back. All right, folks, so here we go. We're going to get into it. So now, Anderson decides to bring the rook over like we said, but the old masters say the knight check was better. As Jay Lowenthal points out, if king to g2, okay, then you bring the queen in. Watch this now, watch this. The queen comes in. Okay, and they give, all right, because what's being threatened is also like, okay, if white wants to take here, obviously, right, after this, if white takes, I mean, you know, you see what's coming, right, folks? So let's just get the first booby trap out of the way, right? I mean, you got this, and you lose the queen. Right now, if you go down, if you're dumb, you go down there now, it's totally over because you get mate, right? You get mate. But obviously, on the knight check, if you go there, all right, well, you pick up the queen. See, it's a knight fork. So, let's just throw that first little booby trap. Let's get that out on the table so you see that, okay? Because that's in play now. Well, what also happens is, there is a case where, let me see, it might be in the other line, so I'm getting a little mixed up. But there's also this queen check, okay? There's also this queen check where you would win. Notice there's a fork here, right? There's a fork where you would win the let's say he moves, right? Oh, he takes the knight, right? You would win this guy. The knight on d2 is undefended, and there's this queen fork on g5 to always consider, okay? Now, I'm not saying to do it now, okay, but you'll see how that comes into play in other lines. So the old masters give this, okay? They give the queen to h4, and now they're saying to bring the rook to protect the knight, I guess, is the idea of this, okay? Maybe to help with defending d4 if the knight moves to b3 or so, something, I don't know. But here you got the check, right? You get the check. Now, again, if he goes down, it's game over, right? Quick mating patterns. But okay, he moves to h1. And now you got this move coming in. Knight attacking the undefended bishop on b2, all right? So you got those two minor pieces were undefended. The bishop on b2 and the knight on d2 were undefended. So now what does he do, right? He tries to go over here and protect it. You could take, maybe you could take over here. He wants to take that one. Yeah, I guess, look, you take here, and then you win this one, right? And you're attacking the rook on b2. He's going to double up. Look at this. He's going to lose the b pawn, though, right? Lose the b pawn. So What if he just moves the... Let's see, what happens if he can't move this guy or he loses the knight, right? So he'd have to move it here or bring the queen down. Let's see, if he moves it there, well, he loses e5. So everything's kind of falling apart, right? He's up, I mean, at this point, he's up 2 pawns. And the white king's position is busted up, isolated F pawns, right? If you bring, I mean, he can't, he brings this guy down, same idea, he loses that. Okay. They're saying to double up here, but then he loses this one. So there you go, right? It looks like black's winning easy at this point. So they actually give, after this, the old masters, right? After rook to d1, they give this rook, oh no, queen rook, Shredder's right, queen rook to e8 with that rook lift idea, tempo on the queen, all right? Of course, he's saying to go here. You protect the bishop over there, at least you get the queen out of it. Because if you do something dumb, let's just throw in a waste of tempo. Here he goes. He's going to hit the queen for a tempo. And if the queen moves, right, now the rook swings right into the attack. And it's pretty much all, it's curtains. It's curtains. Look at this. He's coming into mate on g2, right? g2, what could he do, folks? What could he do? If he tries to defend g2, well, now you get the knight taken with a mate. Pretty pattern. That's one to know, folks. One to know. Knight taken on f2. Look at this. King can't go anywhere, right? So it doesn't even matter if you feel like he's attacking your queen on g5. Big deal. Game over, right? Okay. So that's the idea. We got to take away this dumb move of the a pawn. I just threw it in there to show the threat. So now white senses this. Shredder says throw the queen on c2. Before it was maybe to c3. Let's see, what is he saying now? This over here, push f4. It's trying, folks. It's trying to find something, you know. He can't take here again. Remember the theme, right? Lose the queen, okay? So you got to see all the little things in the position. I mean, I don't know. What does Shredder want to do? King down. It's probably still bad. Look, you're forking, right? Threaded a fork. He's got to destroy you in the exchange anyway, right? See how it works? So anyway, I don't know. He comes down. He comes down to protect. What if he takes here now? All right. You're bearing down on d4. With everything you got, right? You're going to lose that. Threatening the knight on d2. You're up the exchange, right? You're up a pawn. So there you go. Just some things that are going on in the position, right? The old masters give this, and then they say after rook to d1, you got the rook, the queen rook to e8. And there you go. That's all they leave it, right? Followed by, they say, followed by rook to e6, hitting the tempo on the queen, right? All right, so anyway, and if he goes here, right, what do you come out anyway? You come up. You come up. Now, maybe not even this. I think you could even back up your queen, move the knight, and attack h2 is an idea. I think this is what he tries to do. He's got to try to defend along the third rank with the queen, maybe. He's setting it up. He's setting it up. Comes here. Oh, you just pin. Look at that. You just pin. That's how desperate he is. I mean, just to show it. See, he's going to take with check. He can't go here now because it's mate, right? Or here, it's mate. So he'd have to step up. He takes the knight, which it's his only move, actually. And then you get the, look at this. He goes to g5, only square. And there it is. Right? Easy peasy. All right. So he's busted, folks. He's busted at this point. What can he, I threw in I threw in this A3 move just to show it what's being threatened. So okay, he tries to do something, maybe exchange queens, but okay, not having any of it. It's a check move. You could take here. He takes back. All right, queen to safety. He's starting in knight takes F4, right? He's starting in this, folks. G3 is pinned. Okay, so what does he do? What does he want to do after this? King over. All right. And there you go. It's a game, right? White. Well, black is up pretty big. It's black's game. Okay, he's up a queen for a rook, right? You got 6 pawns to 6 pawns. There you go. All right. So that's where they leave it, right? Rook over with the coming rook lift. All right. Now let's go back. Let's go back from where this started. Knight comes to D2, protecting F3. Knight check. Now, if he goes over to H1, okay, there's no potential knight fork, right? Winning the queen and forking the king on G2 because the king's on H1. They still say bring the queen down, but now white's able to take the D pawn. And now you got this. Knight takes check, and you win the exchange, right? And they don't even, they say, let's see, it says knight takes on F2 check, winning at least the exchange. Okay, because if the king moves, right? Where does he want to move to? If he goes here, oh, okay, that's it. If he goes there, or if he goes here, right? You get the queen check. This is what I was bringing up before, the G5 square, the queen fork, folks. Notice the black knight takes away these 2 squares anyway. So he only has one move, which is to take the knight with the king. You come down, check, and then you pick up the bishop. Now you're up a bishop. You see that? Beautiful, right? So he's forced, like the book says, like the old masters here in the book say, and winning at least the exchange, right? What would you rather do? Lose the exchange or come out of it and lose 2 pieces, right? And basically, okay, you're up the bishop because you sacked your knight on F2. So it's not like you're up 2 pieces. You're up 1, and that's good enough, right? I mean, come on, folks. What are you going to do? You can't have everything, right? You're up a bishop, and the pawns are even. But come on, you're bearing down on D4, right? Okay, you can't do anything. Look at this. You're coming down at trade them off. Why not, right? Yeah, you don't have to, I guess. But why not? When you're up like this, folks, does it matter? I mean, come on, right? All right, he wants to keep them on. But it's all over. I mean, look, don't give them any hopes of coming back. Look, you take there. Let's trade some rooks, too. Why not? Yeah, there you go. Trade some rooks off. Right? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that B pawn. Dead. Right? All right, not yet, but we're getting there. Right, folks? Look at this. You're up almost. Oh, there it says right there. -6. Black's in the driver's seat. Okay? And, all right, so what are we looking at? That's what the old masters leave it at. You know, they leave it at this, right? It just says queen takes pawn, and then bam, you hit them with that. All right, so whether the king goes to G2 or to H1, you know, on the knight check back here. Only 2 options, and they both work out for black. All right, and now the other thing, too, on this, you see Shredder finds, doesn't take the pawn. I guess it's just your whole game falls apart. So instead of grabbing the D pawn, they say bring the queen back. Remember, the knight, the bishop, they were both hanging before, right? So now you take here. Now he can step. Now he doesn't have to give up the exchange, right? He steps out, And you can't do this now again, right, folks? Look, look, queen defends, okay? So now, a little different. He doesn't want to give up the exchange because he doesn't have to. King over. All right, so he just nabbed the pawn. Look at this. All right, the check. What if he came here? All right, he still moves it. He still moves it out. And what's he really threatening here? What's he threatening? Let's see. Knight just going back with check. You would have to go here because again, folks. Oh, you got the not this, right? Because he escapes this way, I guess. Yeah, he gets away. He gets to eat your knight. If you go like this, he gets to eat your knight. Still in a bad position, but I mean, you know, folks, it's no brainiac to move the knight, and you know, you win the queen over here, right? Queen coming to c3 has its drawbacks. So, okay. So on this, the king moves up. If he moves here, you get the tempo on him, see? He moves back, you go there, right? If he comes up to g2, very subtle stuff, right? If he comes here instead, you still leap out, and now you're threatening. You're threatening just to go back with the check, and he can't go here. Knight to e2, fork, king and queen, so he has to go back. You attacked. Oh, you attacked the queen. You attacked the queen. You're gonna win the exchange anyway, folks. You get a tempo on the queen. The queen could go nowhere to defend g3. Key square now. Watch. There it is. Look, he forks the king and rook. The pawn's pinned. Can't take it. And there you go. He wins the exchange anyway. Can you believe this stuff? Crazy, right? The tactics, folks. I'm telling you, 99, right? Who said it? Who said that? Talk to Cower, Talk to Cover, the great master back in the day. Chess is 99% tactics, right? Look at this. Okay, so anyway, there you go. You get some lines, right? There's some lines. The old masters, and I gave a little extra, a little deeper to see what's going on. Some explanation of what's going on with the moves, why they're being made, right? So anyway, after the knight, remember the knight? Here comes Morphy defending f3. The old masters say the knight check was the move. But Anderson, okay, here it is. Salivating, like I said, right? Licking his chops. Here comes the rook into the attack. Rook to e6 is coming. All right, so anyway, you got Morphy moving the king over. Okay, preventative move there. Here comes the knight. All right, it's not check, but the king moved already, so it's almost like we're transposing. But here we go. Look at Morphy with this move now. He throws in. He throws in the pawn to f4! Exclamation point. Why, folks? I was wondering, why does this take, why is it an exclamation point? He's able to take away the g5 fork of the queen, remember? Forking the knight on d2 and the king, that would be on the g file, right? He takes it away now. That f4 pawn covers g5. So, okay. Shredder comes in, just sees the same move Morphy does, right? And now we got Morphy grabbing the pawn. He grabs the pawn. Now, look at Shredder, the better move. Coming in over here, defending on the third rank. Okay. Shredder would see this. I think it's still winning for black, but he wins that pawn, right? He wins the f pawn. Let's see what's being threatened also. Let me just make sure here. You just do a dumb move again. Oh, let's see, you attack. Queen moves. Okay, you're hitting with 3. You got the bishop, the knight, and the queen. attacking d4. Once this pawn falls, folks, right? The center's where it's at. You win that pawn. The e5 pawn doesn't have long before it goes. The e5 pawn for white doesn't have long before it falls too. All right, you take here, you take there. Yeah, let's trade some queens, huh? Why not? Trade the queens. Okay, he protects e5. And there you go. Look, the bishop is a monster. Look at this guy. He's a monster, folks. All right, so there you go. What is this? You got 6 pawns to 4. All right. All right, no problemo there. All right, so I mean, he's defending. All right, I threw in the dumb move a3 just to see. So what does Shredder say after this? Right, he wins down and you attack the knight, but see, the knight's good where it is. All right, here you go. Take the B file, right? You're gonna maybe have a discovery. You protect the white would defend the bishop on B2. You threaten mate on G2. He defends. You can get out of there. Let's see. It's a game, but you know, black's up now. Black's up. But it's a little better to defend. You still got the worst of it. Let's see. You lost the pawn, and you know you got nothing for it. You got no attack for it, and looks like black's gonna chisel away at the white center. Right. Knight's pinned. All right, now he defends him with the pawn. All right, now he can defend him with the other rook now that the F file is open. All right, look at this, folks. All right, he's attacking G7, and knight moves back to defend. Beautiful. It blockades the pawn. It's a passed pawn for white, but he wins that guy. You grab the open file. He's going for it now. The knight's pinned. King over. King over. Now the rook on G7's hanging. Your queen is hanging, right? From the rook on D8. All right, he's got to move the queen, right? There's no pin anymore. You can take. And he pushes the pawn. Why not trade queens? Capture the E6 pawn. That guy, oh, you can't move the knight. It's pinned. All right, so you break the pin. That's the point. Here he goes. He forks your rooks. Look at this. All right, don't panic. You win the bishop. You take this guy with check. All right, you take back with the queen, huh? Take back with the queen. All right. You think you could win this one, folks? You're up a bishop. Both got 3 pawns. Yeah, why not? Let's trade him off. Okay, he doesn't want to, of course. You retreat. And there you go. You know, you're winning. You know, you got to maneuver around. Maybe you win that knight. Let's see. Force the trade. There you go. You're forking the 2, right? He's going to go back to B3. All right, you can't force it. All right. Let's advance to C pawn. We got to pass C pawn. Let's do it. Here he goes. He gives that one. Just wondering if you could take it. You get the rook and the knight, right? You get check. But, you know, that queen could be a nuisance. Black's still up. But, all right, you don't have to. You go back here. All right, he trades. Knight takes. So now you're up a bishop. Remember, with each trade, black just gains in strength because he's got the extra piece, and that extra piece becomes more and more percentage-wise, right? If the queens get traded off, he'll have, you know, twice as many pieces as white. He'll have a bishop and a knight. All right, here we go. We're going to just push this guy in, right? We're going to push him on in. What could he do? What could he do? Now, if you push again, he'll take. You figure you win the knight, but look, he wins down here, folks, right? So you got to be careful. Don't be so quick. Don't be so quick. Let's see how you pull it off, right? Let's see how you pull it off. Tell you what. He's going after that H pawn. He goes into that. You threaten the knight. Alright, now we're going to trade him off, right? Let's see. I would say just trade, right? Threaten to kill this guy. Will we take it? Yeah, that doesn't work. Let's get the knight in. Ah, there you go. You just blew it. I'll take your piece. Thank you. And now, gotta defend. We gotta defend. You know what? Was a little. I jumped the gun here, but we gotta protect. We gotta protect that. The C3 pawn is the whole game, folks. If he gets that pawn, it's all over. Right? Now wait a minute. He could launch the A pawn. This is one of those puzzles, folks. If he gets to C2, he's going to gobble our C3 pawn. If he can gobble that C3 pawn, we still got the knight, though, right? And let's see. He's saying to go there. Now we would push this guy, no? And he can't take him. But then his A pawn goes in, right? If you go like this, he protects C1, and then he launches this guy, and we have to abandon our C pawn to catch that guy, right? And we could still win, though, now. Look, watch, I'll show you. We could still win this because we have the knight. I was thinking, oh, you won't be able to queen the H pawn, but you can. Let's bring the knight over here. Right, he goes in the corner. Right, let's just get him. Let's get him like this. Here we go. We keep him, if he's going to try to stay in the corner. So we make sure we do this right. I don't want to screw it up. Right. You can even use the knight as a tempo. Right, he's got to come back to the corner, right? Alright, he goes here even. He's got to go to the corner. If he goes here, he can't stop the pawn. Right? So, he goes here. Alright, now he's going to want to stay in the corner. Okay? And we'll force him out, see? Look. Check. If he goes this way, we queen. If he tries to be stubborn and stay in there, well, we got him mated. Look at that. Beautiful, right? Alright, I know I got sucked into all that. I know, crazy as it is. Where were we? Oh, boy. Alright. You know, the idea is you just keep seeing these patterns over and over and over. Alright, you're just seeing it over and over. And then it becomes like instinct, right? Okay, so anyway, at this point, where was it? Where were we even talking about? I guess, alright, like with the queen, Morphy took over here, right? But Shredder likes coming down to defend, but you lose your F pawn, see that? And you get nothing for it. You got nothing for that. And, you know, go from there. I mean, it could go a million ways from this point. But Black's up, that pawn, you know, he's the one. I mean, White gets nothing for it. He gets no play for that pawn. It's not like he gambited and he got an attack or something. So, He just loses a pawn outright. All right, so now let's go into the game, right? Let's go into the game. All right. Goes over. Morphy moves the rook. Moves his king to h1, and then Anderson throws the knight. We got this move, the f pawn taking away g5 in those lines. Anderson bringing the queen anyway to h4. And Morphy took the pawn over here. Okay, now we got knight takes pawn. Alright, knight takes pawn, just like Shredder sees it. He comes here. See now, folks? See what happens now? You don't have to give the exchange up, right? If you were to come back like this, forget it. Why not just take, right? Oh, look, you can win the d pawn. You win the d pawn for nothing. Okay? So you might as well grab it. But you don't have to give the exchange. You move the king. That's where Morphy went to g1. And now you got this move. The bishop on b2 isn't protected. The same reply would, of course, have come in with even more effect had white played king to g2. Right? Because by going here, what's he doing, folks? Right? You go to save your bishop and look at it. Look at it again, folks. You remember that? You're forking the king and queen. All right, he has to give up the exchange. And there you go, though. You won the exchange again. All right? It's funny how the tactics are turning out. That black is just winning that exchange in so many lines, right? Okay, so anyway, he goes here. Morphy, hey, come on. Morphy sees that. So when the knight goes to d3, he's only attacking the bishop. So Morphy moves the bishop to c3. He's doing what he can. He's defending as best he can. Now, Shredder's saying this. Who knows, right? Whole other game. Here we go. Anderson takes the pawn, hitting the queen. Queen comes down. All right. Now if the knight moves, look, we got this. We got the queen's hitting this, right? So all of a sudden, the hunted becomes the hunter, or whatever. The predator becomes the prey, right? But I mean, not that even goes too far. Who knows, right? He takes, he goes over. Okay, he wins the f pawn, but queen to f3. Here's Morphy with the Anderson with the check. With the check. Okay? Now, he goes over here to leave room for the queen on g2. If he comes up, well, then you got this. And where's the queen go now, right? Where's the queen go? All right, it's saying right here. You take, you pile on d4. I guess this is where it goes, right? You chisel away at the center. See this? What do we got? What do we have happening here, right? Now you got this guy. Look at him. Look at him, folks. Okay. Attack c3. The bishop on c3. Wow, threatening mate. You see that, folks? Let's see, just to show it. Look, threatening mate. How about that? All right, you create an escape square. And at this point, it's 4 pawns to 3. And white's, e5 pawn. I guess he likes to throw that in there. You come up, comes back. The e pawn is weak. It's isolated. This is a passed pawn, though. King up. Alright, so there you go. You're playing, force a trade, maybe? Okay, here we go. You're attacking the rooks behind the pawn, folks. Rooks behind the pawns. You're attacking that e-pawn. What happens if you just take it? What am I? He wants to win this one, I guess, right? If he comes back, he can. Does the check. You can win this guy. Now you have a passed A pawn. I mean, you take your pick. Look at this. Then you win this one, I guess, right? He goes for your C pawn. Gonna be hit. Nah, there you go. You defend. And there it is. It's a technique, right? You need the technique, but you're up. You're winning that one. So anyway, I'll tell you, folks. It's just this one, and I know I'm getting into the sidelines, but I didn't understand a lot of the moves. Just briefly, you know, you make the moves, you say, okay, but I had so many questions in this one. I wasn't grasping what was going on. There's a lot of tactical traps that support the moves that they're making that I wasn't seeing right away. The key squares, like all these knight forks that could crop up. The knight on D2, the bishop on B2 undefended. The F pawn move with an exclamation point on move 18 for Morphy, F4, right? Taking away the G5 fork of the queen. And, you know, a lot of it I wasn't seeing, I wasn't understanding it. So I know I'm going on, I'm trying to share it with you so you can grasp this, right? What's going on. To me, it's a high-level game between these two titans, you know? That's how I look at it. So anyway, where were we, right? Okay, Morphy over to G1. The knight came to D3. Okay, Morphy moves here. And now he took the pawn, right? He took the pawn. Let's see, that was move, right, 21. He took the pawn over here. We went over this. And he comes back attacking the knight, right? And the knight threw the check in. That's what we were talking about. If he comes here, knight over here, and he's in trouble, right? He can't win this. Before he went here, now he likes this, right? You got D4 pressured, remember, folks. You got D4 hanging. He brings the rook over to get in the game. All right, so what happens if you do this now? The fork. Okay, the rook fork. You don't want that. You win this guy, though. Look at this. Your knight's hanging, though. Okay, so you attack the queen. If you made that blooper, you're still kind of up according to the evaluation. You're still up a bit. You take there, you whittle it down, and who knows, right? That would have been a mistake by black with this fork, allowing white to kind of get back in it. But okay, so he brings another. Now Shredder likes it, but he was saying to bring the rook into the game. The knight takes. Right. You got F7 hanging. All right, so queen back, and you're still up a bit. Matter of fact, what if you go here? Okay, there's the rook fork. All right, pitfalls all over the place. But remember, Morphy went here. Okay, now he leaves room for the queen to move to G2 after knight to G5. All right. Okay, and now, okay, queen, like I said, to G2. Here comes the queen rook, putting pressure on the D pawn. And now you got to look at this, trying to win the knight, trying to win that knight on G5. Now, if the knight moves, let's say it moves anywhere, it's mate, right? Okay, if he moves here, well, look at this. The queen supports D5. And even after this, you recapture. Okay, you gave up the exchange. But is black going to lose a piece now? Because he can't, if he moves away to safety, It's mate still, see? The knight's defending G7, so we can't even move him. And if he goes here, right, you can eat him up, you win your piece back maybe. Right? And then you hang that pawn, and it's the two rooks against two minor pieces in rook. That's a tough one. In black, I think black's still up a little, less than a pawn, so it's anybody's game. Maybe a draw there. But they're having this move first. You're forking the knight and the queen, because the knight can't take. Why, folks? Because you get mated again, right? So you're forking them. All right. Now you just take. Look at this. You don't go here. You don't go here, because then you lose that guy, right? And look at what happened to you. You blew it. But look at this. He moves. You take the knight. All right. How you want to take? You want to take this way, that way, whatever. Shredder. There you go. Right, and it's again. Now it's again. It's again. Still black's still up slightly, but all right. So anyway, now the queen could go to G2. Rook over to D8. And what do we got for white here? We got move 24, right? Okay. This was the move. That's what we were just going on. Better was, because this was all the mate threats on G7. That's the idea. Morphy, right? Very aggressive. Trying to turn the tides here. But here's what the masters say. The old masters, knight to F3 was better. Right? Now you're forking again, the queen and the knight. It's funny when a knight forks a knight, the enemy knight in a piece, right? So now he'd have to take, okay? Because if the queen moves, I mean, what are you doing, right? You're just losing a piece. Okay, so he's got to take. Queen takes back, attacking F7, and they give rook to D7, protecting F7, right? And then they give, right here, queen rook to D1, and it says, when black would find it hard to make his extra pawn tell. Okay, white's down a pawn, very hard to get a win out of this. Even the evaluation, less than a pawn, right? I mean, you got active pieces. They're both active. Well, white's got that F file bearing down on the black king, you know. So it's pretty much drawish. Okay, so F3 was the move. Morphy preferred rook to G1. Okay, they got to protect that knight. Got to protect the knight. We were looking at this, right? And that would have allowed all that. But Anderson prefers to protect the knight with the pawn. Here comes the other rook coming in. Okay, now watch this. You would say, oh, but wait, look. He brought the rook to D8, right? Last move, or 2 moves ago. His knight's protected on G5, right? So now he could take here, right? No. Remember this one before? Well, now we got this one, folks. Now it's the knight fork. And you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Look. Alright, he takes there. You take there. Right? And now... Look at this. Alright, so... It still looks like black's better. Hold on. Knight comes here. Alright, see, queen there. They just give, let's see. It just, okay, I'm going to read you the note in a second. But he takes, wins the exchange. attacks. Doesn't matter. He takes there. Yeah. Looks like black can still have a slight edge. Maybe enough for a win. I don't know. Is he threatening? Can't. As long as this black queen stays here on this, he can never play. He can never play that. See, you get the check. I mean, you know, the queen recaptures with check. For instance, when he chased him, if he went back, for instance, right? I think you could attack the knight. If the knight move, oh, he could go back to e6 still. Ah, but now you can do it. He can't do that because then you take. So I don't know. I don't really know. It's still a fight. White's got the exchange. If he was able to hang on to that e pawn, but I guess he can't. He ends up losing it. Let's see. All right, here's a move. He loses this guy, and we can't go there. Let me go there. See what happens, folks. And it's tough. I guess he'll win. You know what's tough about this? He's got pawns on the wings. White has an A pawn and an H pawn. Those are the only pawns left. You know? Look at this though. He creates a passed A pawn. There's a check. The white king can be harassed. This is what he wants to do. He wants to just keep checking him. I don't know. He comes out. Goes after this guy. The pawn keeps going. He's got his own pawn. So it's tough. All right. These are the hypotheticals anyway. Let's go back to the game. So maybe even this isn't as bad, you know. There's still room for error, you know. At this point, white would have the queen left and only the, you know, he would only have the H and the A pawn. And black's king is pretty well defended there with the 3 pawns and the knight. What was wrong here? That you offered there. So he's saying to do this. Cool. Who knows, right? Could go a million ways, but it still doesn't look that good for white. You know, they're saying he couldn't take that. Watch what Anderson does. All right, I think what Anderson does is better. He gets even more out of it for black. What he does is he offers a queen exchange. And look at this. Then he says, go ahead, take it. Right? He says, go ahead, take it. But if he tries to attack the knight, okay, you take here. Right? If he takes here, you take, he takes, but then you got this guy. See that? Knight on D2, undefended. All right? So, can't do it like this. And if he tries to defend D4, what comes of it now, right? What comes of it now? What do? You go after D4. It's slow. Queens are off the board. It slows down. But okay. So you're piling up. You're piling up on D4, right? Now you could push c5 probably and win the damn thing. Oh, well, the knight and the bishop cover this guy on d2. They protect him. All right. This one. Here comes c5 now. Look. Takes. All right, you win this guy. All right. Who knows? Can white hang on? Maybe. But, all right. What did we have? We have this, okay. Morphy doesn't want to trade queens. You know Morphy style, right? He wants to try to keep the queens on the board. He likes to get that attack, get that initiative, and checkmate his opponent. So he goes down there. Now, Anderson says, come on, let's swap those queens. So he does it again. Okay, he offers the queen exchange again. So if he takes, at this point, we're on d4. Look, here comes the rook again. Maybe it's going to be similar to what we looked at. Knight goes to b3 defending. Now look at this, the d4 pawn. You see how they're piling up on him? Now what's wrong with this now, you see? This is a typical theme. The pawn that's being piled up on, you can hit it if you have a pawn on the file next to it. You can't take because then you lose, see? You lose this guy. That's a common theme there. You end up pinning the pawn. You pin the pawn, he can't take, okay? So that's why you can't bring this rook here. Saying there, I don't know. And again, you're piling up. You know, it's black with the plan, the simple plan. Pile up on that d pawn. White's kind of just playing to survive, you know. So Morphy ends up moving the queen back to g2, and now he takes, right? There's no fork. The queen's not on h4 anymore, right? So he takes, and then the bishop takes, and Anderson takes back. Now the knight comes here, okay, and he moves his queen. All right. Now on this, you can just trade queens, I believe, right? You could take here, simply take. Yeah, you take there. He takes. You're gonna win. You're gonna win this pawn, right? What are you gonna do? Take that way, I guess. All right, there you go. Look, white's busted. All right, he goes for your c pawn. You protect it. Yeah, what's he gonna do? Go after your a pawn. If he goes after it, you could defend. See? All right, so there you go. I mean, black's up 2 pawns, and the white pawns are ugly A and H pawns, right? There's nothing good there. Nothing good about this. All right, so Morphy doesn't take the knight. After queen to d5, he hits the knight, right? He hits the knight with the pawn. Again, he takes. Good night, right? Mate on g7. Okay. So Anderson throws the knight over here defending g7. And the queen comes up. The queen comes up to g4. Alright, so then can he actually get away with taking here? Well, Anderson doesn't go for that. He moves back. He moves back. Alright. And now Morphy, let's see, rook up. Morphy with rook up. Unpinning the knight. I guess he's unpinning the knight. He's protecting a2. Here comes the rook. Attacking the knight. Putting pressure on him. Morphy's got it covered right now, and he just maneuvers. He maneuvers his queen to f5, attacking the rook on d3, and look at this, Anderson. Okay, taking control of the d file, doubling those rooks. Okay, now you see Shredder's move. Here's a crucial part in the game. this looks like it's crazy, right? King takes. Now you got the knight fork. Block with the rook, because it's a discovery, folks. Rook on f1, checking the black king, right? Now if he moves, well, he gets this back, okay? But there's a better move for black. He blocks it. Now he doesn't want to take he doesn't want to take with the knight. Now black keeps his queen on the board, right? He's up. So you got to take with check. Now the queen's going to be lost next move, right? So you might as well take the rook for it. And there, white takes back. Now the problem is, it says here, but this, it says, but this leaves black with a 1 game after rook checks. I mean, they like this, Shredder likes that, but check, king up, and they say knight here, right? It's funny, because what's that knight going to do now? Where's the knight going to go? The knight can't go anywhere. And he's going to chop him off. If he defends it, all right, he moves first, maybe. He moves here, attacking the e-pawn. So he's threatening to destroy the defender, right? Destroy the defender here. And then win this guy. All right, he wants to take with. If he wins here, he comes down to the 7th. You don't want the enemy rook doing that, folks. He can win a pawn. He'll win a pawn right back, and there it'll be 3 against 2, and rook and pawn endgames are crazy, right? So look at that. He would bring, okay, he could bring the rook here to take it, or he'd bring the rook back. See, he's going after him. You could defend it, right? All right, there you go. You got him. You got him, right? There you go. All right, so anyway, black's doing good there. So at this point, with the knight coming down, you know, that's all they leave it at that. After knight to d4, and black wins the endgame. So, I mean, we showed you why white would trade. He can't really do anything else. And what black's doing is he's just simplifying. And that e-pawn is pretty much toast. You know, what's he going to do? Try to defend it? I mean, he can't. He goes on the offense here, right? Going after the pawn. Well, okay, he loses that with check. So, he brings the king up to defend that one first. Now he brings this up. So if it's attacked, he could defend it. Maybe like this. Maybe defend it and attack here, you know. But they're saying to launch it up. He's going to try to be active down here and attack, but we got that pawn. And he's going to attack from behind. All right, so it's a rook, you know, rook endgame, rook and pawn endgame. Looks like black's got it, though. He's going to be up 2 pawns after he captures the e5 pawn. All right, so, you know, it looks, you know, like the old masters are correct here. Black has a 1 endgame. Right? Takes here, he comes down and forks. Alright, so what happens is he takes there, king up. He checks. And he takes here. Right? You got 2 against 1 on the king side plus key. The key here is that A pawn. That passed A pawn. This should be a win for black. All right. So there you go. This would be lost. He's busted after this. He's got a busted endgame. The old masters are correct. So what does Morphy do? We're going back. We're going back after this, right? He doubles the rooks. This would lead to a lost endgame, okay? Even though it's fancy and all that, it leads to a loss, right? So what does Morphy do? He doesn't take on f7. You see what he does, folks? Queen to f6. Queen to f6. You know, wait, he can't do that, can he? Well, it's pinned, folks. The rook on g2 pins the pawn. Now, I mean, what's he threatening, right? What's he threatening He's threatening to take with the rook. No, you don't take with the queen, all right? You don't take with the queen. You take with the rook. Well, the knight could take the rook too, right? Yeah, but then you look. Look at this, folks. You lose your queen. Black would lose the queen. So you see what happens here? You see how it works? I'll tell you, the tactician, he's always in the game. Even when he's busted, he's still in the game, folks. He's fighting back. He's trying all the tricks he can, right? So here it is. All right. Anderson is a tactician too, right? He's got the eye. So he sees this. So he moves his queen. So now that, you know, if you try something like this, well, there's no queen hanging, right, on c6. All right, so you can't take. So now Morphy goes back. Morphy goes back. And here we go. Rook down. Rook down. He trades them off. Here we go. Exchanging. King up. And now rook to d3 question mark. All right. The old masters say queen to d3 was correct. Queen to d3 was correct. And is he forcing exchange of queens? I mean, he goes here, right? You break the pin. You break the pin. Now the queen is hanging, right? What are you gonna do? Right? Where's the white queen go, folks? Can you tell me? Where can it go? He's stuck. Look, he can't go here. He can't go there. Right? He can't go here. He can't go here because of the knight. Always watch those knights. Right? He can't go anywhere. So he's pretty much, he's forced to, I mean, he's going to lose the queen. He's got to attack black's queen, right? And now, okay, so Shredder likes to take, and there you go. You win the piece, right? It's a no-brainer. All right, so this queen move would basically force the exchange of queens. And when you do that, and you're up like black is, right? 5 pawns to 3, weaky pawn, right? Blockaded. And, you know, it's only a matter of time. Look at the evaluation. Black's up over 3, right? So what is, like they said, queen up would have been the move. Here comes Anderson with the rook down. Okay? It says here, let me see if the old master's right. Queen to d3 was correct, compelling the exchange of queens. Okay? If the queen went here, oh, okay, I didn't even cover that. If the queen goes there, because if they give this line too, they show this. If the queen goes there, like Shredder found, right? King over. Okay, and it's you know, white loses the knight too. They trade queens and they lose the knight, and black has an easy endgame. So if he goes here, the old masters give. Look at this, pawn to h5. Now what, folks? If he takes, right? Do you see what's coming? Knight fork! Knight fork! Alright, wait, he's got this in-between move. What does this do? Something crazy? Does he get perpetual? No. But he had to give up the rook to get this, right? Let's see. Alright, there, he's going after your knight now. Jeez. Alright, he saves his knight. He's coming down with that pawn. I guess it looks like black still got enough. He can't advance because he got the queen on it. Alright, so. Alright. That's all white has. A4. Check. King up. So anyway, alright, look, he gets this in. Now the rook's in the attack. Threatening mate. Queen to E2 is mate. He gets he's forcing the queens off. Alright, there you go. Right, you're gonna eat up this guy, right? He tries to defend, the king's an attacking piece. Alright, he goes there, he takes this one. Alright, it's all over. It's all over. Alright, he wants to win that one over there, big deal. What's he gonna take this guy? Come on, come on, come on, get out of here, you. That's enough. That's enough for you. Alright, so the I mean, look at this move, H5, right? H5. They say, alright, try to seize it. Queen to G3. The old masters now give Queen to E3. Threatening by Rook. Rook to D3 to force the exchange of all three pieces. The knight's pinned, right? The knight's pinned. Here it comes, look. Here it comes. What are you going to do now? Right? You got to defend. Okay? And now you pile up. Alright, he's got to defend with the king. And here we go. Right, folks? Here we go. How do we do it? You pin the knight. Is that what you do first? Can you just take? Alright, here we go. They're coming off. They're all coming off. Alright, there you go. Right? You got your pass C pawn. Do you push it already? Let's see. Shredder says yes. What if you go for that one, right? Just going to give it to him. Right, you trade over there. Holy smokes, look at this. Alright, it doesn't matter, right? He's just buying time. Look, you got that one, folks. What's he going to do? He takes this one in. Goodbye. He comes in. He can't get him. Alright, you don't even have to use your king in that endgame. Look at that. Alright, fancy stuff. Alright, very nice. Old masters, once again. Beautiful analysis. Threatening by Rook to D3 to force the exchange of all three pieces. Alright, so we did throw in a blooper right here, A3 to see the threat. So what is he? He says to do this instead. Says to do that. Alright, we trade. Right? Can we trade the oh look, we get a check. Get your rook active first. You're hitting that A2 pawn. Why not take him off, right? Take him off. Take this guy. Alright, he's going to go here. He's going to give you that. Why? Does it matter? It does isolate it. I mean, alright, he gets this one. So he wants to defend the H-pawn first. And when he takes here, well, your king could take back. Better formation, see? Better formation. If you take here, well, he wins this one. Now look at your formation, folks. I mean, you got 4 against 1, but they're all, you know, they're all isolated, right? So you see how the subtleties of chess, folks. You push this guy first. Protect your H-pawn so the rook can't grab it. All right? If he takes here, now your king defends G6. He wants to go up. He wants to go after this one. You go after his H-pawn. All right, he's going to win there. We got something similar than like before, right? So, we got 3 against 1, right? He says to move here first. Well, you take, then he takes. Then you could, maybe you come up and attack him, right? If you come here, he goes after that. All right, just like before, right? It sort of transposes. He takes there, you come up. All right, so anyway, look at that. His H-pawn is toast. I mean, but then he wins your A-pawn, right? So I guess you're going to want to take that. Ah, he's not on your A-pawn anymore, is he? Let's see, but he could go here and win it now, right? Yeah, he's going to go there and win it. Now, he doesn't take right away. Why is that? Now, this could be tricky, but being that the 2 pawns are connected, We'll get into this in another game because we're going on long here. But in rook end games, when one side has two extra pawns, 2 pawns to none, if they're connected, this is a win for black. If they're separated, like in the other line, look at this is why white is trying it, folks. See, if you take here, let's see, on this part, right? On this, what did we see before? He pushed this, and this was played, because if you take, and then he takes here, you got 2 pawns. You got all of them. Let's say white was to pick up 2 on the queen side, and you got your E pawn and G pawn. They're separated by a file, the F file, right? There's 2 isolated pawns. White can hold. White can actually hold being 2 pawns down. I mean, heck, he still has his H pawn, but you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, we'll get into that. If you don't, we'll get into that. Just with the pawns like this, let's see, we went like this. With the pawns like this, it's much better. The G and H pawns are connected. All right, so anyway, let's go back. Giving a lot of info on this one. But anyway, okay, the move was queen to D3 to force the exchange of queens, okay? But, okay, Anderson does this. Anderson brings the rook down. All right, so it says, let's see. Let me just finish the old master's notes, which was this, was correct. Compelling the exchange of queens. It's this, right? He hits them there. Queen here, okay? Queen there. And then they gave queen here. Threatened by rook to D3, where they forced the exchange of all 3 pieces. White must therefore play queen to F2, and the queens go off. Okay, so the queens could come off now. There you go. Right. This was to complete the old master's analysis, and black's that much closer to the win now. The queens come off the board. Less of a counterattack. Right. All right. Okay. But he played the rook down. All right. Here we go. The knight's hanging, right? Okay, rook to F2 by Morphy. Black attacks, let's see, rook to E3. I guess he could play rook to E2, forcing an exchange of rooks. Is that the idea here? Like this? Alright, you want to come up, you can exchange them anyway. Alright, but, okay, wait. He does like Shredder. He does this. Alright. Morphy with knight to D2. Alright, here we go. Now we're going to force those rooks off. He takes, check, king over. Now he can't take here, else he loses this one, right? So, with check, by the way. Can't take there, you take with check. So, he ends up moving knight. If he takes here, well, then he takes with check. And he wins this. So he can't take here because then he takes there, right? I think this is a draw. Tough. When the kings are exposed, you know. You would win this pawn, and with the knight still on, looked a little better for black. You pin it. You pin it threatening to win it, right? You pin it threatening to win it. Let me just do this, look. There you go. You're going to trade them off, right? Trade them off. Come on. Don't make it complicated, right, folks? There you go. You got the win in the bag. All right, so let's see. So he doesn't trade. Morphy moves the knight. Okay. Now rook takes rook check. And now rook takes knight was simpler. Rook takes knight was simpler. If queen takes knight, because they're saying here, queen to e8 check, only move, and queen takes knight. Queen to, let's see, to here. Wait, no, over queen to rook 4, which would be this. Is that what Shredder likes too? He likes to check with the rook taken, but he goes, this is saying this. You're gonna win that e pawn. All right. Takes. Take with check. Attack that e pawn. Comes over. Stay on that e pawn. The king's coming to g6 next. See? And now, how does he protect that pawn, right? If white was to attack the rook again, and you're thinking this nonsense, right? Well, that would be silly to think, because once he goes down, if he comes after it, well, you go after his rook, right? You take me, I take you, and who's going to win this end game, right? King and pawn. Forget about it. Black's got that one in the bag, right? So on this, you got nothing. And he tries to pass. Big deal. That's it. There you go. Protect him. Attack this guy. Alright, we got all we need, right? He can win that one. Big deal. You're coming up. You got 2 passed on the king side. Forget about it. Good night. Right? So, that was one line the old masters put down. Let's see. Check. He goes over. Knight up. And the right move was rook takes. If then queen takes here right away, instead of checking on e8 first, then they give queen down, king here, queen to rook 1. Look at that. You're going to have a discovery. Rook moves with check, right? The e4 rook for black's going to move with check, so it's threatening a discovery. King goes, they give king goes to here. Well, now he moves, now he takes with check. King over here. Rook to rook 4, there, whatever, h5. Descriptive notation, folks. And now they're giving it to black. That's a line they gave here. Whether there's other better moves, I don't know, but there you go, right? I guess he wants to hold on to the, doesn't want to exchange the rooks yet. Rook down, threatening a check on g1. There you go. Detect c7. All right. What do we got here? Check. Here we go. Here we go. Look at this. Folks, he's going to lose his queen because it must be mate somewhere. He can't. He goes down, we come on in. Goes there. He's got a block on C2. Alright, he goes there. Blocks there. Alright, a little technique there. Beautiful stuff. Now why? There had to be mate, folks, because I saw this. Look. He's blocking with the queen. Why? Why do I say he's going to lose the queen? Well, I'm looking at this. This move. Right? He can't, what can he do? He can't stay, he can't move, he loses the queen anyway. So you might as well take the rook, now you take there, right? Alright, big deal. You go after here, alright? Well, it's game over, right? You're gonna win this guy, I take it with check. There you go, right? Alright, so anyway, that was a nice mating attack, a hunt, a king hunt, right? Shows you how the rook and queen work together, right? So anyway, alright, we go back. That's what they gave. The old masters gave the line. Could be a little different, you know, variations on it. But basically, black holds the cards. He's up slightly. Now they're saying that rook takes knight was the better move. But what did he do? Right? It only looks logical. You're taking and you got check, right? But okay. Okay, so the knight takes back. He takes back with the knight. Look at this guy. Shredder likes taking back with the queen, right? So, anyway, I mean, what's different about this? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's more drawn out. Maybe white can hang on a little longer. He's still lost, but... Alright, Morphy takes with the knight. Alright, here we go. Queen to D5. And now you got the knight moving. Alright, that protects the E5. Knight going to G4 also sets up some crazy tactics and drawing possibilities with knight to F6, leaping to the black king side, sacrificing itself, but the queen can get some perpetual checks going and try to get a draw. We're going to see those dynamics in a minute. But let's see here. Now the knight defends E5, but it doesn't defend A2. So Anderson jumps in, grabs the pawn with check, okay? And now Morphy comes up to G3. Now what if he goes to H3? What do you think happens there, folks? Knight fork, right? You win the queen, but wait a minute. Did you see it, folks? The diagonal, folks! The queen captures the queen on F7. Look, instant replay. Knight fork, right? Well, you chop him off, but look, it uncovers this guy. Beautiful, right? Okay. Gotta love those tactics. Okay, so Morphy knows that. He comes up to G3. And now this is a nice maneuver by Anderson. He brings the queen up with another check. All right, Morphy goes back. Now you get, let's see. Make sure I do this right. Now you got Anderson checking on C2. Morphy goes back, right? Move 47, goes back to G3. Now Anderson gives another check, and once Morphy goes back again, now he retreats to C6. And here it says, the old master's writing the notes, black has at last attained the square at which he has been aiming, holding the knight and guarding against perpetual check. Okay? For instance, let's show it. They say, for instance, if the knight leaped, you know, you're going on the attack, you maybe bring the knight into the attack somehow. You bring it to, they say knight to D4. That led to a draw with queen, check, only square. And now the knight leaps in. There's no squares for the black king, so you got to take that guy, right? And now there you go. Look at this. All day long. That's it, folks. That's all she wrote. Draw. Okay? Perpetual check. Okay? Pretty nice, right? So that's what I was talking about. So now, you know, when you get the knight up there with the queen, you got to watch out. Lots of tactics. And you got this pawn on e5 that could help out. You'll see another line, very interesting. Okay, we got queen to, so what Anderson's doing is he's bringing the queen back to protect the knight, first of all, right? She's hanging. But he's also taking away the square for the white queen. He can't check. See, the knight covers f8, so we don't have any checks. Okay. So now we got this move. Watch this. Okay? Morphy plays h5, trying to help. You'll see some interesting lines that develop. I'll tell you, this guy Morphy, he's squeezing blood out of a stone. You know, he's trying to milk it for everything he can to hang in there. He's using the tactics. He's going for it, folks. But Anderson's pretty hip to it. He's a tactician himself, a great attacker. He sees and he plays a5. He starts to march his pawn down. This a pawn is his bread and butter now. You know what I mean? He's holding the white attack off. But now this is going to be a problem for what's Morphy going to do? We can't. What's he going to do to try to stop that pawn coming down? It's going to be tough, right? Well, interesting enough, the old masters. Look at this now. I think Anderson is correct in playing a5, and I'll show you why. But they think, the old masters thought that now that this pawn moves up, okay, it changes things slightly. And they think now you can go back to checking this king, and you go into the lines they give with a winning advantage here. Now watch this. Just because that pawn moved, you get a different scenario. Look at this. You got the queen coming down with a check, and this is the line they give, okay? They give king to g3. Now you come up and give the check. All right, he comes down here. They give this line. If he comes to f2, this is a side note, then the queen checks, and if the king comes down here or here, it doesn't matter. Once he goes to the back rank, right, you give the check on d1, and you win the knight, the white knight. See, you go up, say, okay, let's do this, so he doesn't get a check out of it. You win this guy, and now you protect your knight on e6, okay? And I mean, he could get the check in here, but let's just put the engine on and make sure. I don't want to mislead. But once you come up, there you go, right? He can't check you here. Now, if you're black, if the queen wasn't there, he could, he could just go like this forever. This is what he's trying to set up. H5, he doesn't even need the knight now. He could check on the light squares back and forth, right? So, anyway, that would be the idea, something like that, okay? Doesn't work out perfectly, because even if the queen was, let's say he checks, right? He checks, he comes up, okay. I'll just make a move for white, right? Let's say the queen was over here, right, out of play. If he goes here, he's gonna wait. He can win the knight like that. Let me just set this up. Let's say he goes here, right? He protects the knight. Can he still get perpetual check? I don't think so, because he goes to g8. I was just looking at that. And now the knight could block. All right, so even with the pawn on h5, he still wouldn't have this perpetual check. So that's just something I noticed right off the cuff right here. All right, but anyway, the point being, with this line, once the king goes to the back rank, if he goes here, it's even worse, right? Or it's the same thing. Okay, he takes the knight. He wins the knight, g4, all right? He wins the knight, g4, and there we go. All right. So, they have another line. Let's see, on move 50, queen check, we just looked at if the king went to f2. But now they have this line, king to g2. Well, look at this, folks. Look at this. You're going to try to win the knight, right? The king moves. I don't know if he goes there, right? He can't. If he goes there, you take the knight, right? You're going to win the knight, so he's got to take. And you're saying, what's going on? Well, Shredder sees it. Look at this. And now you win the queen back, and you're getting into the end game. And now you're up, you're up 2 pawns, 2 queenside pawns. Something like this wouldn't be anything to fear. You leap the knight in, right? And I mean, you're gonna bring your king over, right? Look at this. You launch this guy, you launch him, and now the knight's gonna have to watch this one. Once he goes here, he's gonna have to stop him. See? He's gonna have to stop him from moving. So now that occupies the white knight. He's over there. You come up, and you got nothing, right? You're gonna go back. All right, you go back. Let's see what he's doing. Why would he do this? Look. Hold on. Don't go back. Bring the king up. Come on. All right, he gets the check. I see. All right. Well, now our pawn on A3 is he's got to go back. He can't leave it. All right, he wants to go to B4 at this point. I mean, you know, it takes technique, and yeah, I guess you can make mistakes if you don't play it accurately, right? All right, if the knight goes here, what's going on? He likes hopping the knight over here. I guess to take away D5 for the white knight, right? So now he could bring his. All right, now he could bring the king up. Is this the idea? Why just give your pawn away? Let's see what he's trying to do. All right, he could take that one. All right, is that why he's going after this? All right, let's see. He takes there. He launches this guy, right? All right, they go pawn for pawn. All right, he doesn't want to take it. The check. All right, forget it, folks. We got it, right? Black's got it in the bag. Look at the H pawn and the G pawn, right? For black, they're coming down. Right, okay. Maybe I didn't play that as good as you're supposed to, but you can see, even me blundering through it, it's still a win for black, right? All right, so anyway, so there it is, right? Boom. You hit him with the knight fork. Okay, so you win there. All right, but now here's the thing. Let's go back, right? Anderson goes to C6 with the queen. This was the move by Morphy. He plays H5. And now the old masters again recommend this, right? Check. And then he comes up. And now you give this check here, right? Now, what if they only gave this line, right? He comes here, you give the check, right? And they say he goes down, right? He goes down. He goes down. What if, like Schroeder saying, what if he goes there? What if he goes there? Okay, now watch this beautiful line. If you give the check, he can move. But what if he blocks with the knight? Look at what could happen. Look. All right, so here we go. Look at this. The queen checks on G1, and the king's got three choices. The white king can go to H3 and suffer the knight fork, right? There you go, game over. He can go to F3, suffer the knight fork. There you go, game over. Right? And prettiest of all, if he goes here, you give the check with the queen, only move, check with the knight. Well, if he doesn't sack, he could sack the queen, but game over anyway, right? So if he just moves to his only square, checkmate. Beautiful, right? Queen and knight work together so well. Once again, another example. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. There you go, right? But obviously, you know, folks, it's not forced. This knight doesn't have to go back. The thing is, he could go to G2. And now, I mean, if you give the check here, right? Now, again, he's only got two squares. He's got to defend his knight. If he moves anywhere else, well, you take, and now your knight's defended, right? Your knight's defended on E6. We saw this position. He gets the check in, but he gets no perpetual of any sort. Not that it's even there, because we saw knight, the king to G8, and then the knight can block on F8. But anyway, we got our queen on G4, right? So that's no good. If he goes here, right? If he goes here, well, then the knight fork again, still in the position, right? So the only place he could go is here. So now, okay, Shredder likes to go back. I mean, this is where we were, which says to me, why did he come down and do all this dance? I mean, you were trying. There were lines where White could make mistakes and you win, but the end result with correct play, you get nowhere, right? You get nowhere. So I could see why Anderson played A5, right? Because I don't see anything else after this. There's no, as far as I can find, even though the evaluation has it up for Black, he's got the better position, the checks could go, I mean, you could go on forever. You could be trying to check them. He could go back and forth between these two squares, right? Just keep going back and forth. You get nowhere. This, he goes back down. He'll go there. That's the other option. You go here, you get nowhere. He goes back to G3. Hey, look, engine's saying go back. You see what I'm saying? It's a waste of time. I mean, you could, against a lower rated player, I mean, I guess you could figure, they're going to probably blunder, and I'll win the knight over there. I'll fork them. Maybe I'll win the queen with a knight fork on G5, because now this pawn, folks, the pawn moved up. So now those lines, I mean, maybe you're figuring, all right, I'll go for it. Now that G5, maybe I'll get him in the knight fork. But you're playing a game against a lower rated player. You even against lower rated players, you can't play and hope they don't see something. I mean, if you're relying on that, you might as well be playing, gin rummy or something. You might as well be shooting marbles, or I don't even know, right? This is chess, folks. All right, so anyway, so we go all the way back after H5. Anderson, I think, does the right thing. He marches his past A pawn down the board, right? So after this move, okay, we got, let's see, we got the knight, exclamation point. The knight coming in. Now he could go for mate. He's threatening mate. Queen to G8, right? Queen to G8 would be mate. All right, Shredder likes going in with these checks again. I'm sure it's going to get nowhere, right? There's never a way, there's never a moment, as long as White doesn't let the knight come in, into the attack with tempo. If the knight could give a check, if that black knight could leap in, then it might be dangerous. Where, like, for instance, if he goes here, now the knight could leap in. Well, I mean, now he wins the queen again, right? But even if he didn't, I think Black could even see. Looks like he's going to go for mate now. He's got the support of the knight. Okay, he takes him now. Yeah, because it doesn't look like he's going to get a. All right, he would win him there. But my point being, let's say he goes down, right? Okay. Let's say, this is an example. Say he goes here. See, it would be right to play the king to F2 because the knight can't leap in. But if you come here, now the knight might be able to leap into the attack. All right. I didn't really look at this, but give a check here. All right, he's gonna. All right, I see what's coming. If he takes here, you take there, you give check. He moves now. You could take the knight. Now you could take the knight, right? I don't know why he gives another check. All right, he likes the white king on E2 instead. All right, he gets his check in. Big deal. You block it. All right, is this going to be perpetual? No, right? He's going to block there. You give the check. All right. He's going to shelter behind the pawn instead of taking it. All right, so anyway, let's just go with that. Look, you're up 3 pawns to 1. And that G6 pawn looks dead. It's going to go. It's going to go in the box. All right, so now that's just a little something. If you could get your other, you know, in scenarios like this, you're trying to check and check and check. You're going to see the enemy king's not going to want to move to where you could get your other pieces into the attack with tempo. You know, coming in to the attack with a check. But anyway, look, you're coming down. What was this? Right? He leaps in. If you come down, he's just going to shuffle back and forth. And just do it, look. Just do it like this, right? You can do it all day long. Can't take this, can't take him. You take, well, he takes you. You still up, right? You still got the better, I mean, now you got 4 pawns to none, right? So, I mean, maybe that was the better way to go. Maybe Shredder's right, a little aggressive, but what if the king goes there? The king just stays here, right? Give the check there. And this is similar to what we looked at, right? All right. Anyway, there you go, right? You give the check. All right, wasn't that something like we just looked at here? Check him again just for fun, right? And then you hope he goes this way so you could take with check and get the queens right off the board, and there you go, right? How's the white king gonna handle all these pawns, right? It's like Space Invaders, folks. Remember that one? Here come the aliens. They're gonna drop down, right? Bloop, bloop, right? Bloop, bloop, bloop. They're gonna hit the ground. That's it, Space Invaders, folks. All right. So anyway, where are we, right? So, okay. Maybe it was better to come down like this, and you pick off those pawns, and then white's totally busted, right? But all right, here you go. You can't blame Anderson. Get that knight out of here, okay? He knows he has the perpetual check ruled out because he can't check over here. The black queen is protecting E8. He can't go here. But what he does is he takes the pawn here with check. Now, if he was to take, the old masters say, if pawn takes pawn, then here comes black running that pawn down, right? Now watch this. Queen getting out of the way, getting ready to attack H6. They give, all right, Shredder likes this, but all right, here's what the old masters give. Check, king down, which is best. If he goes here, watch this. You give a check. He can't come to the G file, folks, because then you give the check. This is what you're aiming for. You're forcing the queen exchange. See? And there, he's busted. A pawn goes in. These guys can't do anything. They can't get in, right? You could sack the knight and pick them both up. Or you could even just move the king, right? He protects. Those pawns can't come in now. All right, they go nowhere. So this is the goal. This is, watch the maneuvering. This is interesting how you pick up this technique, right? You give the check. He can't go. If he goes down, you give the check over here or over here, right? Okay, he comes up. Now you give another check. Now, of course, if he goes here, right, you go G5. You go G5, and you trade him off. So he's stubborn. He goes here, right? Well, now you made the box smaller. So you got your check on the first rank on E1, not D1. So now when he comes up, you can swing over here. You check him over to the G file. The whole goal, folks. That's the whole goal of the maneuvers. You see that? There you go. Right? You trade him off. Now, if white takes on the check, well, now the white pawns are even worse because they can't even protect one another. Either scenario, he's busted. But you see how Shredder's playing for the best line possible. you know, even though it's still losing. All right, because the two pawns are connected. You get it, folks? It's a strategic advantage. It's better than having your two pawns isolated. They can't protect one another. All right, just reiterating over and over the same little points, right? The same strategies. All right, so anyway, there you go. Right, now he comes here. You give the check, and that's what, let's see. That's what they had. Let me make sure that's 52, right? Pawn takes pawn, blah, 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 blah. You come in, invest. Let's do this, that. There you go. You got it. You got it. That's the whole goal. You trade off those queens, right? So what happens if you give this? Watch this. You go here, right? What happens if he goes here, folks? I don't know. I don't think I accidentally played the king to G2, but if I did, or played the king over here by mistake, right? Just to be thorough here, we still got that knight fork in some lines, right? That's even better. But either way, white's busted. So he can't take with the pawn. He can't do it, folks. He can't do it. He's going to take with the queen. Anderson sees all this. He takes with the queen. All right, now you got the king going over, right? All right. Check. Okay? You can't block, folks, because then you lose your queen, right? We've seen something similar before. So king over. All right, now he takes the h-pawn with check. He takes the h-pawn with check. All right, they give king here, and now on the next check, he's clearing the way for his h-pawn. King to d7. Pawn comes up. All right, and now, very interesting. Pawn comes up. Now, Morphy, I told you he's squeezing blood out of a stone. He's trying. He's working with what he's got. And look, he's still dynamics, folks. The dynamics is pouring out of this guy. Look at the H-pawn now. He's got two moves to queen. I mean, he's putting, Anderson, keeping him on his toes. Anderson had a win here. He still has it, right? Or does he? This is the whole question. This is what's crazy. This is what's crazy. Now look, let's Shredder finds this, right? Queen to F3. He can't check over here, right? So he goes in with, he figures, I mean, on this, right? On this, he's blocking his pawn now. He's blocking his pawn. And after, let's see, after the king, all right, Shredder says to go down. Now black's threatening to, like, check on F4 and win the E-pawn, perhaps. Is that what's going on? He gets out of that, but still he loses it with this check. Let's see, he plays another move. Well, I think what's coming, I mean, if you take, right, let's go all the way back. Let's leave the king on this side of the board, right, further away from our A-pawn. But now, let's see, he gives, if he checks from here and the knight blocks, can he advance the pawn, or does he just sack? He can't sack the knight, right? He gives the check. And he takes the pawn. Okay, you got the knight on it. He can't take with the knight because the knight's pinned. But okay, so he would play the queen here. King up. He pushes the pawn. There's a fork. Look at that. You're forking the queen and the H7 pawn, and there's no check. There's no check for the white queen. Look at this. So he's going to try to, oh no, that's protected by the queen. All right. And what if he even just sacked the knight? Oh, he'll take with check. I think he still wins though, folks. Even if he gives up the knight and with check, I think he wins this because this is where the game goes anyway. This is where the game goes. Anderson ends up with these 2 pawns, and you're going to see some nice technique. You know, I don't blame Morphy for going, you know, not quitting, because he played, this game really had a lot of stuff going on. I could see where he's sitting there. Let me see how long this game actually took. I'm curious now. Oh, boy, guys, 7 hours. This game took 7 hours. Okay, so I don't blame Morphy for hanging in there. He didn't resign. He just kept going. Let's watch this. I mean, you're investing. You're down, and you're playing. He's playing his heart out here. He's trying to hang on. But look at this now. The Queen F3 move is what Shredder finds. And after this, you know, it doesn't work. So let's see. Shredder says to do this. And now what's tricky is he's about to queen that. Takes there. Ah, this is good. This is a nice maneuver. Look, he comes down. If he comes here, what's in the position, folks? Knight fork, right? And isn't it convenient that after he captures, he can't even get a queen, because then the knight will capture that one? Isn't that sad for white? Holy smokes. So, only square is here. Well, now he gets to take with check. He gets to take with check, and then he could, you know, he's stopping this guy. He'd say, oh, look, oh, wait, you can't get him off this way, because then he goes in with the queen. Oh, you're there. You make one little blunder. You're so quick to get the queens off. One little blunderous move, right? And he gets his queen back. Oh, boy. All right, so anyway, you bring the knight here, and now the two are going to go on the attack, I believe, right? Look at this. Still no checks for the white queen. There's no checks. Can you believe it? Now, what else can he do? I mean, what's going to happen is, let's see, he's going to go here, and they're going to swap. They're going to swap. He's going to take the queen. He's going to take the knight. And there you go. You give a check, and here we go. Like I said, we got this scenario. Anderson has the 2 pawns, and, you know, you'll see how that shapes up. But now, what if he doesn't go to queen the pawn? I don't know. Let's just make a dumb move, right? He goes anywhere. With the knight now up there, I'm not sure if he could. Crazy stuff. Maybe that was just a waste of time. He gets the check. Now the knight. So the knight's gonna sack itself. The knight will sack. Here you go. Oh, he wins this guy though. He wins that guy. You can't even get rid of the queens once again, because then he goes in, right? He goes in. See how, I mean, you know, that pawn, when Morphy created that passed pawn, that passed H pawn, it added a whole new dynamic to the position. But, all right, so when you go all the way back here, right, this was a beautiful maneuver, because on the check, he goes down. He has to go back up. It doesn't matter if he goes to, on this check, doesn't matter if he goes there, because it's the same. You go here, and he has to go to, he can't go here because of the knight fork, right? He has to go here, and you get to take with check. He goes whatever, right? And you could sack it. If he doesn't go in, he sacks it, right? And you end up with this. You end up the queens are on the board, and black has the 2 extra pawns. Either way, right? The way it shaped out, I guess Shredder likes to have the queen, after everything's said and done, have the queen on H8, opposed to the way Anderson did it. Anderson pushed the pawn, right? Queen takes queen, and he takes here. Oh wait, okay. The king can't be on H1. It's in a different spot. Let's see. This goes there. Shredder finds F3, and then with the checks. Oh, that's beautiful. So now, all right, he'd have to go here. He'd have to go there, and then with the knight coming here. Okay, and let me make sure too. Let me make sure, and then you get this, right? And then he takes like that, and then you'd get the queen to E5, to D4 with a check. But now, this is what Shredder finds. It's so close to the actual game. It's so close to the actual game. Okay? But look at the difference. It's so subtle. It's crazy. This game is crazy. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm crazy, right? But look, black had to win right there. You just saw it. You just saw it. This is how it would go, right? But now watch again. Watch the difference. The subtleties of the end game. Look at this. Morphy's last move was H6. Okay? Shredder says to play this, and it's all over. Right? It's all over. Okay? We saw this, the check. Boom, 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 boom. Take with check. He has to go to the G file. And there you go. You bring the knight over. You're going to sack it on H7. And if he does something, if he gives the check, what do? We get out of these checks, right? Okay, yeah. We go here. He tries to check from over here. Well, can we just block it? Goes in. Oh, no. Oh, no, you can't just block it. Oh, wait, you get, okay, save your knight. If you take here, look at this. He's going to take. You're going to move. Can he take your knight? I don't even know. Craziness. The craziness. But he throws the knight in first. This is the hypotheticals right now, though, folks. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I see it. I see it. If he goes to F7, right? Why can't he take the knight, folks? Why can't he take the knight? He pins it. He pins it. And he's out of the square of the pawn. Look at this. He's out of the square of the pawn. He can't get him. He can't catch him. It's too late. Goodbye. He's in. He's in. Holy smokes. Just when you thought you blundered the game. All right. All right. Anyway, look. What were we talking about? He takes with check. He goes here. Okay. The knight comes up. All right. And whether he takes the knight and then queens the pawn, or he queens the pawn and then takes the knight. Shredder finds the win. Okay? Shredder found the win. And what we're talking about is queen to F3. What does Anderson do, right? Anderson plays queen to D5. Queen to D5! Now, Morphy plays the pawn up to H7. And what do we have? Well, we have, look, folks, look. It transposes, queen takes, right? Queen takes, over there to the G file, right? Here we go. Knight up, and look at this. And this is exactly what happened in the game. He queens the pawn, and Anderson takes the queen. Morphy takes the knight. Here comes the queen check, right? king over here. I guess he's got to get over there to try to stop this pawn. All right, and here we go. We'll get into it in a minute. Look at this, though, folks. Look at this. It's transposing, right? Transposes after this. You take, and then back to what we looked at so far. But what if queen checks now? What if queen checks? All right. Where's he go? All right, let's watch Shredder pick the moves, right? Now he checks down here. If the knight blocks, he checks over here, right? Comes back up. Look at this. This is crazy. Now his pawn is one square away, and the knight's way over here on the queen side on c5. All right, he gets this. He wins this with check. But look at what happens now. Let's trade queens. Come on, let's trade queens. If you trade, what are you going to do? The knight's out of position. He can't, even if he gets a check in, look at this. He still can't get in position to stop the pawn. It goes in, right? He goes in. The knight's out of place now. Okay? So he tries to block. All right. He wants to prevent this guy. He's going to threaten. But look at what happens, folks. When you get the queen, when you get this formation, the pawn's one step from queening, and you can get your queen to link up diagonally with it. You know what I mean? Support it on the next move. Look, he goes out of here. He gets out of there with a check. All right, I don't know. He could check him to death, I guess. Right? That white pawn's going in next move. So all he could do now is just check him to death. Right? He's just going to check. The knight, again, he's too far out of reach. He can't get into the attack. So all that black has left is now he has to perpetual check this guy. You see? What are you going to do? Oh, is that a mistake with the knight? The knight could come in maybe now, right? Look at this. You can't do it. Oh man, I was trying to set up a fork. I guess I was seeing ghosts. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You can't do anything. Black loses now. Look at this. So you see what I'm talking about? Once I went crazy. I went looking at this position, and if the check, I tried to say, well, what if he goes here? Well, now he's getting to that position quicker with h7 coming over. Look, now he's got that formation, queen supporting the pawn to come to the queening square, right? The pawn supports the queen supports the pawn. I mean, you know, you got a scenario now that here we go again. Now it's just the checks. Black's got nothing but the checks left. His pawn is the A pawn's still too far off. You know, what do you do? What do you do? What can you do? You can only check, perpetual check. You can't do anything, folks. So it's a draw. Even though the evaluation, I went crazy because I look at the evaluation is, you know, it's in Black's favor, minus 2.10, right? But hey, you can't make anything of it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of you grandmasters, you see some subtleties that only you guys can see. I mean, I was racking my brain. I was racking my brain. I mean, even on this, right? I mean, look, if you try to block with you know, your queen's the knight's too far off. He can't get any checks to get a tempo and get, you know, to these squares. He can't do it. It's over. Right? So you can't block with the queen. If you try to move, I mean, you know, if you go back, well, obviously, then he could pull the perpetual out, right? So what do? Do you go, okay, you go over here. You're going to play h7 anyway. You protect e5. All right, you get the check in, protect e5. Push the guy now, right? You're going in on the next move. Now the queen's got to go back on the defense to stop that pawn from going in. All right, you get a check, right? What do you got now? Morphy was so close. He must have been exhausted. He must have been exhausted. Maybe he saw ghosts. I don't know. Maybe he saw this. Look at this one. Look at this. Maybe he figured this is what would happen, right? Let's go back all the way. Make sure we do this right. After Anderson's queen to d5, right? You give the check. The king goes up. You go back. You block with the knight, right? You go. You give the check over. No, let's see. Here you go. You go there. How did he do it now? Okay, maybe it was this. He goes back there. He goes back here. Go back here. Pawn's gonna go up, but we got a similar situation. Alright, he takes with check. Remember, folks. Let's trade queens, right? Let's do it. Then he'll queen his pawn. Knight's out of place. All right, we're back to look. There you go. You got the formation now. Look at this. Nothing but checks. Nothing but checks. That's it. Stay away from the knight. Make sure the knight can't leap in and get in with the queen and mix it up and get some kind of checkmate before white can queen the pawn, right? Keep the king away from that knight striking distance, right? Okay. There was somehow I had a line where he can block with the c pawn. But I don't see it now. I don't remember the way it went. Goes there, he checks. Blocks with the knight, he checks here. Maybe he came here. I don't know. Still the same idea, right? So there you go. Morphy had a chance. He had a chance after queen to d5. He had a chance. See, on this, he doesn't have a chance because if he checks here, he could come up. What was the difference? Let me make sure I got this right. Let's see, wait. Oh, he could come back. Can we look at this? If the check comes down, you put the knight there, right? Okay, so maybe that's why. It is different. It's different, right? Queen to f3 gives you, on the queen check, you have a defense still. You get out of the perpetual checks by going down. That's what it was. You take here. You can't force a trade because he goes in. See this? Unbelievable. But anyway, you know. Start no checks. Look at this. Now, if you try this, look at what happens. Pawn up. How about that, folks? You see that? Shredder didn't even see that. He didn't even see it. Rewind the tape. His arrows, he had taken with the pawn first. Is that even better anyway? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because he gets the key. Doesn't have to trade now. He keeps the queen. All right, my mistake. Don't you think this is prettier though? You take with this. He takes, and then you make him fall off the seat by moving the pawn up, and the king can't get it. Oh, that's one to remember. Remember that pattern. Good to know. If you end up taking with your opponent, if he was to do this, you know, he wasn't seeing that would be a common mistake. You don't see this type of move. You figure he's going to recapture. You know, you're swapping down, And then he just chooses to go forward and get the queen. All right. Whoo! There's a lot to this one, huh, folks? All right, but anyway, this move, queen to f3, you have the defense, and with the queen to d5, you don't. And he goes there, and now you're marching this one down, right? He can't. What could he do? What could he do? There's no checks, right? There's no checks. Comes down. And there you go, right? What do we need to look at this? This is over. We're threatening mate in 2, right? Queen down to e2 check, queen to g2 mate. There we go. He's got nothing left. All right, he could come out of it. There we go. Multiple threats. He can't do anything. There you go. We get our other queen, right? Look at that. He's got no checks, nothing on us. All right, it's all over. He wants to trade down. There you go. All fun, right? All right, so black had it. Black had it, right? But by playing queen to d5, now Morphy missed it. He could have went in with these crazy checks, but instead he pushes the pawn. He pushes the pawn, and like I said, now it's move 56, right? Make sure we're back on track. Oh, here's what the old masters say. No move of the white queen will avail, owing to the checking powers of the black queen. Well, I think they misread that one, right? The queen could have went to h7 and started off, checking like crazy. And then with the idea of supporting your passed pawn, which you fought hard to get, to make on the H file, you could have held this game. All right. So, Morphy pushes the pawn. Anderson takes on e5 with check. King down. Knight up. This is what we were looking at, right? Similar, just different order of moves. Here we go. Anderson with the check. Okay, he comes over. He's coming over to try to stop those pawns. Here comes the pawn, right? Queen. Let's see, queen to f5 check. King up. Going over to support those pawns. All right, and now Morphy goes behind the c pawn. He's going to check from behind. Here comes the king. All right. As white cannot here capture the bishop pawn. Look at this. Look at this, folks. Why can't he do this? Boom! We've seen that theme, right? Get him off. Now he's too far. He's too far. Can't get him. Too bad. Game over, right? All right, here we go. Can't take c7. As white cannot here capture the c7 pawn, he might have resigned at once. The game, however, continued. King to e1. Push this guy. Queen check. King up to c4. Here we go. We slide with the check over here. Morphy's trying. You know, he fought so hard. 7 hours, folks. This is crazy. 7 hours. Here he comes from over here with a check. You block with the queen. All right, here we go. He's checking from this angle now. He's trying to harass him. Trying to harass. Let's see. King over to b3. All right, he tries to check from behind. Sometimes the queen can be a nuisance to where white can't, the enemy can't advance his pawn. His pawn or pawns, but in this case, it's just too much. All right, he attacks the a pawn. All right, we get a check here. Anderson checks on c3. King up. Now we push the pawn, supported by the black queen. All right, rook down here to a4 check. King over. You see he's making progress, right? The technique of Anderson will not be denied. Here it is. He blocks here. He blocks on B3, and white resigned. If he takes the pawn, we got another one of these, right? Force him off, and the pawn walks in. So, Adolf Anderson taking game one. Like I said, 7 hours. Holy smokes. And it took me a couple hours to even explain this. I don't know. Is this one 3 hours long? I don't even know. I'm out of breath. I'm exhausted. My mind's loop-de-looping. All right, so, I mean, forgive me. I know it was tough. There was a lot of interesting stuff in that one. You're going to grasp a lot of patterns out of that, a lot of tactics. You see how Morphy fights. I love the game, even though he lost. You know, our champion, he really fights, even though he's down. And it all came back to this move. Remember, folks? Let's go all the way back just to leave it at this. Remember, this is the game of chess. It's what it's all about. Every move. You know, you got to respect these grandmasters. You know, you got to respect them. They're high-level chess, and the smallest of subtleties will win or lose the game, you know. And look at this. Even back in the day, Anderson Morphy, you had this subtle move right here. Bishop to B2. You know, and from that point on, Morphy was, you know, trying to swim upstream. Unbelievable. Right now, Anderson didn't find the best moves at times, but he did enough. He did enough to get the win. And even all the way, let's zoom all the way the other way. Why not, folks? We'll make it 4 hours long. Why not, right? All the way back, all the tactics and stuff we saw. Beautiful game. After all said and done, after all is said and done, look at this. Morphy made that passed pawn. Right here, folks. Boom. Subtleties of chess. Look at this. He could have had the draw. After all that, right? He could have had the draw with queen check on. Oh. And look at the subtleties. Anderson, if he played this, Morphy wouldn't have had anything. He left the subtleties, right? He left the door open, but Morphy missed it. He continued with H7. I don't know. You grandmasters out there, maybe you find something I'm not seeing, you know. Maybe not even Shredder's seeing it. But boy, what a game. All right. I love it already, folks. This is the price of admission. This match, Anderson Morphy, I think this was Morphy's toughest challenger. You know, Anderson was a champion in his own right. He was the unofficial world champion. Once Morphy dropped out of the scene, Anderson continued to go on a tear. And there was let me see right here. Why am I trying to recall it? It says it right here, folks. There was a little footnote. Adolf Anderson, Brussels, 1818, of Scandinavian descent, professor of mathematics, Frederick Gymnasium, Brussels, drew a match versus Harvitz, 5-all, 1818, first prize, London, 1851, folks, 1851, before Morphy, in which year he also won a series of games versus Lowenthal. After Morphy's retirement, took first prize, London, 1862, and on the strength of both tournament and match play, was generally recognized as world's champion until his defeat by Steinitz by 8 games to 6 in 1866. Last tournament, Paris, 1878. He died in 1879. What a career. You gotta love Anderson. I mean, come on, folks. All the masters after him are standing on his shoulders. The tactician of tacticians, Adolf Anderson, had it all, you know. Whew. So we're in for a good one. This is going to be, like I said, the price of admission. Stay tuned. Don't miss this one. It's going to be good.